Before we begin, just to make ourselves aware that majority of the guidelines, rulings are related to Umrah. Then less than that, it's related to Hajj, less rulings. And then if any, they're related to Ziyarah when you go to Madinatul Munawwara. So majority of the presentation is going to be based on Umrah, because that's where it is. So before we begin, we're just going to share some. I'm just going to basically tell you some guidelines, some rules. And that is, this guide hasn't been prepared as the A to Z rulings of Hajj. Because if we do that, we probably need 5 days and probably 2 hours a day. So we don't have 10 hours. Yeah, we've only got, if anything, 2.5 hours with a refreshments break in between as well. Hopefully that will be kept short, inshallah. So we don't have much time at all. So bear in mind that not all the rulings have been included. However, inshallah, Hajj packs will be given out. How to perform Hajj, how to perform Umrah, how to perform Ziyarah. These 3 books will be given out, inshallah, to the brothers that are here today who are, inshallah, and mothers and sisters here today who are traveling for Hajj. So you'll find the detailed rulings in there, enough that you need for your travel. I've intentionally omitted the ad'iyah, du'as, which we recite at different places, at different times, because there's so many. And if I just show you on a slide, which I'm going to only put up for 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, I'm not going to be writing Arabic and then translation. So I'm just going to show you, okay, this is the dua, this is the dua. So it's just going to take up time, for example, and we won't be able to get anywhere. Again, the books that I give you, the du'as are in there. So just use it from there. Third thing is that basically that you should take as much notes as possible from this presentation, as much as you can. I've tried to include as much as I could. I may have some extra detail with me in my notes that I'm probably mentioning, but majority of it is over there on the slides. And what you don't hear and it's there, please take note of it. Sometimes what we do is we start to pick and choose. What do I think I'll need? What do I think I won't need? And then our notes are so limited that when we do come back to it, we can't understand what was this referring to and what was that referring to. So try and do as good note taking and as expansive note taking as much as possible. There'll inshallah be a Q&A session after each session of Umrah, Hajj and Ziyarah, inshallah, and literature packs will be given out at the end. I'm just going to put a slide back and just show you that part 1 Umrah, we're going to be discussing, this is the longest, Hajj and Ziyarah are shorter. We're going to be discussing virtues of Umrah, before Umrah, departure, during travel, how to perform Umrah, and in that we've got a whole list of things we're going to be discussing about Ihram, Niyyah, Talbiyah, forbidden things in Ihram, Jeddah, on the way to Makkah, in the boundaries of Makkah, during your stay in Makkah, entering the sacred masjid, sighting the Kaaba, beneficial points before tawaf, after tawaf, Zamzam, Sa'i, shave or trimming of the hair, and your stay in Makkah. We're going to be going through all this, inshallah. So let's begin. Bismillah. So this is pre-pandemic fact. After pandemic, maybe this has gone even less. So the fact is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my dear respected brother and sister, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has selected you from less than 0.1% Muslims living in the UK are accepted to go for Hajj each year. So you are very, very lucky. And you should do lots of shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I already know many cases of brothers who are on the waiting. There's some news that there's extra spaces being made available due to spaces not being filled up in other parts of the world. But nevertheless, the fact that you've been chosen and Allah has provided you the means to travel, This is a great blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you should begin by thanking Him. The virtue of Umrah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he mentioned, Al-Umratu ila al-Umrati kaffaratun lima baynahuma. Performing one Umrah until the performance of the next Umrah, between these two Umrahs, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives the sins of everything that's occurred in between, all the minor sins that a person has committed. وَالْحَجُّ الْمَبْرُورُ لَيْسَ لَهُ جَزَاءٌ إِلَّا الْجَنَّةِ. And there is no compensation for an accepted Hajj except for Jannah. That's what Allah has for you. Yes, subhanallah. So we want to learn these rules and regulations properly so that we can ensure that we have performed the Hajj as closest to the Sunnah as possible. In another hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentions, Al-Hujjaj wal-Ummar wafdullah. Those who perform Hajj and Umrah are actually the delegation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In da'awhu ajabahum. If they supplicate to Him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answers them. وَإِنِ اسْتَغْفَرُوهُ غَفَرَ لَهُمْ. And if they seek His forgiveness, Allah forgives them. Meaning Allah is there ready for them. When somebody just presents themselves and say, right, okay, how can I help you? This hadith is giving us this impression that these people who set up for Hajj are very special people. Very special people. May Allah make us from that group year in, year out. Inshallah. Right, before the journey. Mental preparation. Yeah, so there's a couple of parts you've got to remember in before the journey. One is in your mind. Yeah, so you've got to get yourself ready at the top. And we've got 10 points. 10 points to get yourself ready. First is correct intention. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam mentioned, "Innamal a'malu bin niyat." Innamal a'malu bin niyat. That actions are based upon intentions. It would be a very, very sorry state that after spending the amount of money that you are going to and making the sacrifice, maybe leaving kids behind, taking off from work, etc., after all that, we come back with nothing. What have we just done? If Allah accepts, we probably have just fulfilled the obligation, but there's no other spiritual benefit we've got from there. So we have to be very particular in our intention that we're not going to impress people. We're not going to say that, oh, this is my third Hajj, fourth Hajj. I'm going only for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second point is repentance. Repentance is also very, very important. Just imagine yourself that you're presenting yourself in the court of the King of the Kings. And imagine if someone presents themselves as a criminal in the court of the King. Now here you're going in the court of the King of the Kings. You should go with a clean slate. You should go in a way that they are pleased to see you, to receive you. They acknowledge that you've come in the best manner possible. So this isn't a condition as to whether Hajj will be accepted or not. But this is etiquette. That before you go for Hajj, you clear your account with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there are 4 conditions for the acceptance of repentance. Condition number 1. Whatever sin that you have in your life, you have to leave it. You have to leave it there and then. You have to leave it. You have to let go of it. You have to move on from it. Condition number 2, you have to have remorse over the sin that you have committed. Nadam. You have to have remorse. That, I shouldn't have done this. Number 3, you have to make a firm resolution not to return to that sin again. You have to make a firm resolution not to return to that sin again. And number 4, if this sin relates to the rights of people, then you have to compensate where possible. This is and seek forgiveness, but you have to also compensate where possible. This is the only way to be forgiven when it comes to the rights of the slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 3, so I'm going to just repeat those 4 conditions again. Leave the sin, have remorse over what you've committed, resolve never to return to that sin, and if it relates to the rights of another person, then you have to make every effort to return or compensate for those rights where possible. Number 3 is that you should entrust all your affairs to Allah. Look, it can be very, very scary. It could, I've already spoken to so many people who are there through the Nusuk and they've got accepted. The people whom are taking over here in the UK, trying to provide the services in collaboration with the Saudi ministry, they're not giving enough guidance. They're not giving clear guidance. They're not quick enough with the guidance. Some are getting more luck, some are getting less luck in it. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of uncertainty. Inshallah, Allah will do everything for you. This is our hope. If Allah has accepted you and your name has come out and He's provided you the means and He's supported you all the way till here, then He's going to support you all the way thereafter as well. This is our yaqeen, our tawakkul in Allah. We have to have good hope in Allah. So it's very, very important that we understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been with us to get us to where we are right now, and inshallah He will be with us to get us through until the end as well. My dear respected Shaykh's father, Hafiz Ibrahim Durat Hafidahullah, he would mention that when you go to a person's house as a guest, do you ever think after accepting their da'wah, do you ever think to yourself, I wonder if he's going to cook enough food? I wonder if they'll have a toilet in the house. I wonder if there'll be a seat to sit on, if I'll have in a space over there. I wonder if the door will be wide enough for me to walk through. Will there be too many people going through that door at one time? Do we think of this? No, we are certain that whoever's invited me, they know how many are coming. They know the needs of the people that are coming, and accordingly, inshallah, according to the capacity, they will facilitate that as well. So when you have such good thoughts about humans, then how can you not have such good thoughts about the Creator who is hosting you in Makkah and Medina? Subhanallah. How is He going to abandon you? How is He going to not facilitate for you? So be optimistic. Be optimistic. And any hurdles that come through your way, then think to yourself that Allah, maybe there's some part of my repentance which I didn't do before I came here. So in this journey, you're just trying to basically clean me from those things as well. Maybe there's some sins that I've forgotten, I don't know about. They're still on my account. And you're just giving me this experience to completely wash those sins away. So be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in whichever condition He keeps you in. Travel companions. 4 points here in travel companions. Less people. Number 2, knowledgeable people, ideally a scholar. Number 3, pious people. And number 4, like-minded people. So these 4 are very, very important points. That when you select your companions, then you should try and observe these guidelines. Inshallah, a lot of your journey will be easy. Less people, knowledgeable people, pious people, and like-minded people. Number 5, travel light. Subhanallah. You can find the entire world over there in the supermarkets over there. You can find like this famous supermarket, Bin Dawood. You can find all your essentials that you need. Yeah, here, any scholar you take advice from, any Hajj group you take advice from, they will tell you a limited amount of items. There is not a single item from there that you cannot purchase when you're at Saudi. So travel light. Don't believe that you need to take everything with you in order to be comfortable. Everything can be purchased from there. So only pick your essentials. Inshallah, I'll give you a short list throughout the presentation, but I didn't want to focus too much on that in this presentation, but there will be a short list over there. Number 6, know your stuff. That's why you're here today, because you need to know where you're going, what you need to do, and how to do it in order to succeed and please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So attending Hajj seminars and workshops. How many should you attend? Only this one? What about if there's an opportunity to attend more? You should attend as many as you can. Number 2, read authentic books on Hajj, Umrah and Ziyarah. So inshallah, for those that are traveling, they will be given out at the end of the program. It's best to study the books with a scholar if you have the opportunity. And if not, then self-study these authentic books. And where you don't understand something in these books, put a question mark and come ask a scholar. And for the sisters, if they don't have female scholars, then they should somehow get in touch with the masajid to get their questions answered through the masjid phone number as well. And the third thing in this is that you should know your rules and regulations so well that when you see someone doing something which is opposite to what you have learned, then you can immediately identify that. So you're not saying to pick their faults, but that's how well you should know what you need to do. You shouldn't put a question mark on somebody else that's saying, I wonder what he's doing. Is that what I'm supposed to do as well? No, you should know that this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, or this is exactly what I'm not supposed to be doing. Number 7, the Fada'il, the Kitab, the book on Fada'il Hajj of Shaykh Zakaria, rahmatullahi alayhi, the great scholar. Yeah, this book has so much good things in it in terms of virtue and do's and don'ts of Hajj. We should read it. We should acquire it and read it as a study circle on a daily basis as well as we prepare to go for Umrah. We should read it on the flight as well. Fada'il Hajj. We should take it with us. We should read it there as well. You know, rather than sitting around, we're going to come to the Hajj part, but rather than sitting around in the Haramain for your 14 days, 21 days, and having nothing to think about, rather than catching up, hey, where you're from? Oh, which part of England are you from? What do you do? Are you a doctor? And rather than catching up on who are there, you haven't come for that purpose. Focus on what you are there for. And for that, you need to stay occupied. So one good way of staying occupied is reading and reading beneficial material. So this is a very good book. Number 8. No expectations, no disappointment. Subhanallah, so simple, but so effective. Don't think what you're going to get there and how it's going to be. How will the food be like? I should at least get this much and it should be on this time. Don't expect. Because when you expect, and if Allah wants to test you, then you'll be disappointed. So don't expect. Think that I'm going on, they're saying 5-star package, but even if they gave me 2-star, I'll be happy with it. Yeah, always think below. I know you're spending the money like 5-star packages, maybe 9,000, 12, 15, whatever. You've obviously chosen something which is of higher. But tell yourself that if Allah gave me even less than that, I'm happy. I'm happy. The fact that He's just put me on that land, despite my unworthiness, I'm grateful to Him. Number 9, sabr. So they say 1 suitcase of luggage, clothes, etc. Then another 10 suitcases of sabr. Yeah. So subhanallah, they are not visible to those that are at the checkpoints over there. So all this luggage will go through, inshallah. Don't worry about it. Sabr suitcases. All of them will go through. Just make sure you take enough with you, inshallah. Number 10. At all times, keep the focus on yourself. So many times it's seen that people who go for Hajj, all they're worried about is gossiping with their friend about what the third person is doing. They're doing tawaf. Instead of focusing on this magnificent act, they're worried about that person ahead with that child on their shoulder. Oh, he might just topple over. I should go tell him. Or this woman who's pushing and shoving others. Hey, how can she be pushing men as well? All they're focused on about is what? And then there's from Malaysia, there's a group of 15 people, arms locked in, and they're barging through. Oh, I wonder if I'll catch them up, or should I slow down? What color codes are they wearing? And this is just in tawaf, but throughout the whole journey, there's so much focus on other people and not on ourselves. We're going there for our spiritual cleansing. Keep the focus on yourself. This was which preparation? Mental preparation. So nobody can do this for you. You have to keep these points in mind and do it for yourself. Now the easy part, the physical preparation, just in case you thought, do I have enough thobes? Do I need 2 ihrams? If that was the problem. No, that's not the problem. This is the easy part. Physical preparation, this is easy. Look how many points there. Only 4. So number 1 is learn, and learn. This is the greatest preparation you can do. Keep learning. Keep learning. Don't think you've learnt enough. Don't think you've revised enough. Don't think you know it all. No, keep going over it. Keep going over it. Just before I continue, I do understand that this session is just started. and there's a lot to go through. I'm speaking fast, and your minds are going to have to work very fast. So if you do need to help yourself to a glass of water, etc., then by all means help yourself. The tables are on either end, inshallah. You won't be disrespectful. Take some water, etc. Sit, sip, but just please avoid spilling it on the carpets. So the first point is learn, learn, and learn. Number two is meet your social circle and ask for forgiveness. So that follows from the mental preparation in Tawbah as well, that this isn't a requirement for an accepted Hajj or Umrah. However, it is an etiquette of presenting yourself before Allah, that you go with a clean heart and a clean record. Number three, pay off outstanding debts. Again, your Hajj will still be accepted if you go with a debt on your head, but it's always best to clear your accounts with Allah and the slaves of Allah. Number four, place copies of all important documents at home, in the suitcase, and on email. Sometimes we lose them. We don't have copies of them. We ring home, they're able to email things over to us, send things over, scans, screenshots, etc. The more copies you have, 2, 3 versions of it spread out, inshallah, you'll be okay. Some rulings. Do I have to perform the yearly sacrifice? Do I have to only perform the udhiyah of Hajj? Do I have to perform the yearly sacrifice that I do when I'm over here? Or will the Hajj sacrifice be enough? So, which is called Dam Shukr. So, if you're doing the Hajj, then you do not need to do your yearly sacrifice that you do when you are not in Hajj. Yeah, so that's just a clarity. Number two is know if you're a traveler whilst you're there. So, the latest research says that the population of Makkah has spread as much that it has reached the boundaries of Mina and Muzdalifah. Therefore, if a person is residing in Makkah, meaning Makkah, whether it includes the days of Hajj, Mina, Muzdalifah, etc., if it's in that parameter for 15 days, then he is not a traveler and she is not a traveler. That means when you finish your traveling, meaning from here to Makkah, then at the point of your landing and when you reach your place of residence, your hotel, from that point, you will perform the full salah, every salah. Then you do not perform the short salah. However, if your stay is 14 days or under in either place, Makkah or Medina, then you remain a traveler right throughout your journey. Whilst you're traveling to your place of residence, whilst you're there, and then on your way back as well. And how do you perform your salah? Then the 4 rak'at salahs, they become 2 rak'at, the 2 stay 2, and the 3 stay 3. It's just the 4 shortened to 2. That's what shortening means. Which 4? The fara'id. We're talking about the farad of Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, and Isha. Should you perform your sunnah and your nafil salah, which we know exists as part of the entire package of each salah, should you perform them as well? So the ulama, they mention, as and when convenient, you should not miss it. As and when convenient. And when you're going there with the objective of ibadah, then rather saying short salah and now the rest of that time of that salah, I'll talk to Muhammad and Ibrahim, and she will say, I'll talk to Maryam and Salma. Rather than using your time like that and saying, oh, it's only optional to perform the rest of the salah. Well, it's disliked that you'd engage in the conversations of the world. So you'd rather do something which is praiseworthy and optional and gain more reward than do something which has got nothing to do with your journey over there. Shaitan can make us think the opposite. Right, we're getting closer to leaving now. Departure. Where am I going first? Yes.
When you shorten the salah, that's when you're individually praying. But if you're behind the imam, just carry on.
That's right. So if you're praying behind an imam, whether imam of the haram or your own imam, meaning someone from your appointed in your group who's appointed, and they are performing the full salah, then if you're praying behind someone, it's the full salah. But if you're praying behind someone who's praying it short, then you continue your short as well. If you have to lead and you're praying the short one, then you should make an announcement before you lead that I am musafir, I will be praying the short. So anybody who needs to make up their salah after I do the salam, then they should get up without making the salam, if you're leading. Is that same question? No. Yes.
You mentioned if you stay more than 15 days, the second.
15 days or more.
Yeah, can you repeat that ruling, please?
For Makkah.
Yes.
So if you're in Makkah, so if I make that more simple, if you're in Makkah for up to 14 days, then you're a traveler. Yeah. If you're staying for 15 days or more, then you are not a traveler. Yeah. And Makkah includes all the places that you're going to be traveling in Hajj. So that whole stay is what we're talking about, the Makkah period that you're going to be there. If that is up to 14 days, you're a traveler, shorten your salah. If you're staying there 15 days or more, then you're not a traveler, pray all your salahs at full length.
From day one.
From day one. Once you arrive to your place of residence. Yeah, just put that one here. You can just put that in front. That's fine. Do you know how many hours? Let's take a batch. Yes.
What happens if you go from one city to another? Say you go from Mecca to Medina.
Then it doesn't count. Meaning, like, if you go from Mecca to Medina after spending 10 days in Mecca, you're still a traveler now because you didn't do your full 15 days. So you won't add the time together. You won't say, oh, I'll add the Mecca time and Medina time and this time and then all together. No, you won't do that.
You know, Arafat, isn't that a bit far from Mecca? How can that be included in the vicinity of Mecca?
We can discuss that a bit later, but that's the research is what I told you, inshallah. But we can discuss it after the program, inshallah. Right. Just a request to my brothers and sisters, if you're not traveling for Hajj and you have a question, I know I've invited you here for the session, but if you're not traveling for Hajj and you have a question and you feel it is important for you to know, then do ask that. But if you feel that it's not such an urgent question, then save that question, just note it down and ask me later, because the presentation is quite long and I do need a full time to keep moving. So that's why we said we can do the Q&As after the sections. But if you are traveling for Hajj, you have full allowance to interrupt in between. Sisters included, they should have put a pen, paper on your side. Is there anybody's wife on the other side? Mohsin. Yeah, Mohsin. So you've got your phone with you as well, isn't it, Mohsin? Yeah, so if Mohsin's missus, if she can, inshallah, message him if there's any questions that come through, then Mohsin, if you can then just collect it from under the boards and then just pass it over, inshallah. Or she can message you and just show me the phone, inshallah. Right, okay. Decide where you are going first. Am I going Medina or am I going Mecca? If I'm going Medina, I don't need to be in the ihram up to Medina and in Medina as well. I only need to be in ihram if I'm going directly to Mecca, which means that then you'll be landing in Jeddah. So that's why if you're going Mecca, then the ihram is required. We're going to discuss at what point, etc. So if you're going to Mecca, 7 points for you to keep in mind. Pack a few light snack items for Jeddah airport, as the wait can be long. Yeah, this is wise for you to do. Free yourself from all the things that would become haram upon you after coming into ihram. Cutting nails, cutting unwanted hair, intimate relationships with the spouse, etc. Number 3, perform ghusl. So this ghusl we're saying if it's before you're coming into the state of ihram. Some people, if they have got a transit flight, then they may decide that, when I stop at the transit, I'll take a shower over there in the shower cubicles at the airport, and then I'll pray my 2 rak'ats over there, and I'll come into my ihram over there. So this ghusl we're talking about, this ghusl is with your ihram. Yeah, so we're just putting it here, just assuming that you're going to do your ihram before you leave your house, basically. That's what we're just saying over here. And you're not going to get an opportunity to do your ghusl before you come into the state of ihram when you're going to come in. Some people may decide, I'm going to come into the state of ihram in the flight just before I land in Jeddah, 1 hour. I'm going to come in. Now, how will you get a time to do ghusl in the plane? So you can't do that. So the closest time you can do ghusl is before you leave your house. So that's why the ghusl is over here. So it's sunnah to do that. Number 4, perform 2 rak'at if it is not makruh time. And there's 5 makruh times and they're listed over here. Fajr to sunrise. So Fajr Salah to sunrise. Asr to Maghrib. Sunrise, midday and sunset. 5 times. It is masnoon to recite Surah Fatiha and Surah Kafirun in rak'ah number 1. And in rak'ah number 2 you'd recite Surah Fatiha and Surah Ikhlas. This is the same surah that it's sunnah to recite them behind Maqam Ibrahim after your tawaf as well. The same 2 surahs, Surah Kafirun in your first rak'ah and Surah Ikhlas in your second rak'ah. Qul ya ayyuhal kafirun in first rak'ah, Qul huwallahu in the second rak'ah. If it is makruh time and you have to leave the house and you can't perform the 2 rak'ah, then just suffice on dua. This is it. Number 5, meet your loved ones on your way out, but make sure to leave with a smile at the end. You are going on a sacred journey to sacred places. At such times, happiness should be overwhelming than the grief that you have in leaving your family and your loved ones behind. So some tears there, etc., but on your final leave, you leave with a smile. That's the last impression you should have, and that's a dominant feeling that you should build within your heart. And again, worry is natural, to become worried, to feel worried. But as we said in the beginning, increase your trust and hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 6, give sadaqah before and during your journey. This inshallah removes difficulties per the hadith. Number 7, try not to take excessive people with you to the airport. There's a lot of things that happen which are beyond our control, which are not appropriate, morally not appropriate, Islamically, when number 7 happens, where actually a lot of people go with you to the airport as well. So just try and see everyone off at the point of the house. Right, ready to fly, brothers? Okay, during the travel. So refrain from committing sin with any body part. Yeah, from top to bottom, eyes, ears, mouth, with the mind, any body part. This is the worst thing you can do. This is the worst thing you can do. If Allah's calling you to His house and you disobey Him on the way there, whilst you're there, on the way back, this is the worst form of appreciation. Is not listening to the host, not following their instructions. Just like the school teacher takes the students on the trip and then they mess around on the coach and they're a nuisance whilst they're on the trip. So can you imagine how the teachers feel? If there's some teachers over here, they'll understand what I'm saying. Number 2 is, we've already discussed number 2, that as you're a traveller, so if you're a confirmed traveller, you will do qasr. So you're a traveller until you reach your place of residence anyway, regardless of whether you're staying 14 days or more. You're a traveller in journey anyway, until your place of residence. So the rak'at and the shortening we spoke about, that will all apply to you. In the plane, as and where you get an opportunity, you should even request, if there's no valid opportunity for you, to stand up and perform your salah, your fard salah. Any other salah, sunnah, nafil, you can do it on your seat. But for fard, you have to stand up where possible. So for example, remember, like the ulama, they say, like if you don't have physical disabilities and you're performing in a masjid, you can't just sit on a chair and perform your salah, or on the floor. So similarly, standing is important wherever you are. So even if you're on a flight, you should stand and perform salah. If you're going on Saudi Airlines, Noorun ala Noor, then you have all the opportunity for that. If you have to perform it on your chair, on the seat, your fard salah as well, then there's an opinion of the ulama that you need to repeat that salah after, but you should perform it in its time. There's a lot to discuss, but I'm just hoping it'll all come up in the notes as I'm discussing ahead. Okay, ihram. So you've seen a lot of text. It's time to see some pictures as well. Ihram. So for the men's, keep your ihram above your ankles. Keep the sheets of your ihram, that which drop from above and that which is tied to your waist, above your ankles. Don't let it drop below. Cover both shoulders. Cover both shoulders. To expose the right shoulder is a temporary action of the two cloths. And you do that at a specific time when you're in ihram. We're going to discuss that. But the neutral position is this one that you're seeing. So you look at that child, he's also abiding by this, subhanAllah. So as adults, we abide by it as well. Right, okay, about ihram. Prepare for ihram. Perform your ghusl. So sisters as well, their ihram is their normal clothing. Nothing specific. Men perform ghusl, women perform ghusl. Put on the 2 sheets, this is for the men. Women who put on their normal clothing. Apply itr but just ensure you don't leave any stains on your ihram, because the stains mean that if the stain is there, this is problematic, which can cause you to pay a certain type of a penalty. So applying itr onto your hands and then rubbing it over your ihram, this is no issue. Cover your head with one end of your ihram. Thereafter, perform 2 rak'ah salah. So if you're doing this from home and you have a topi at hand, and then you just put the topi on your head and you perform your 2 rak'ah of salah, it is sunnah to don the topi on your head whilst you perform your salah. So we're trying to make our journey and our ibadah as wholesome as possible. So every sunnah which we can implement, we should not abandon. Then perform your 2 rak'ah salah. Then make dua. Now, until point 7, you still haven't come into ihram. Yeah, let's just make that very, very clear. Until point 7, you are still not in ihram. The next 2 points is what's going to put you into ihram now. But what we did up to 7, this is all sunnah and mustahab for you to do. This is what's virtuous and makes your ihram coming into it complete. That's why you do it. But 8 and 9 is the only thing which makes you come into ihram. That is intention, your niyyah, niyyah to come into ihram, and your talbiyah, which is your labbaik. Sure, I'll include it on some slides ahead, so hopefully that should be coming at some point. So intention a person can make in Arabic, a person can make it in any language they want. Okay, let me just run through some important points on those points. I've just got some extra notes over here. Right, the 2 white sheets that we wear, they're commonly called the ihram. These are cloths for ihram, but a person does not come into the state of ihram by merely wearing them. We must come into the state of ihram before reaching the miqat, and depending on which side of the world you're traveling from, normally an hour before landing in Jeddah, you should make your niyyah by then. So you wouldn't have passed the miqat. So up to an hour before landing, make your intention over there. What brothers can do is, it's a very easy method. Lots of scholars encourage this, is that your lower garment for ihram, wear that before you set off from home. Your lower garment. On the top, you can put your thobe on normally. If you want to wear your vest underneath, fair enough. But normally all your undergarments should be removed. Put your thobe on top, maybe a jacket on top that you'll be using in Medina anyway, Makkah, Medina over there. Then when you get into your flight, all the way up till there, still don't come into the state of ihram. Why? Because sometimes what can happen is that your flight has been booked, you're due to fly out 5 p.m. on a Saturday, for example, and you turn up at the airport and there's a delay for another 3 hours, for example, or in the transit there's a delay. Now you have already come into the state of ihram. Now this is extra time that you have to spend in this state and abide by all the restrictions. So you're making it very hard for yourself. So try and delay your intention, point number 8, and talbiyah until an hour before landing. Do it then. After that point, you then come into the state of ihram. Just on point number 3 about the 2 sheets of ihram, the sheets should not be stitched to the shape of your body or limb. Based on this, it is permissible if both ends of the lower garment are stitched together in a cylinder shape, and you put them on, and then you basically tighten it around your waist and fold it or knot it, or put a safety pin and then hold it there, or put a pouch around it like a belt clipping pouch, money pouch, etc., and use that to hold up that lower garment. All these things are permissible. The only thing which is not permissible is to have the garment sewn to the shape of your body, which you normally call a trouser. Yeah, that's what normally called. So if it's stitched from both sides right down, this is no problem. You can wear it like the lungi that you get. You can just wear it up like that and then type. So there's no issue with that. For women, I've already said it's permissible to cover your hands and your feet. However, your face should not be covered. Your face should not be covered. But you should still make an effort to cover your face in a way that the garment doesn't touch your face. And for this, there's special caps that are available which have the parda and the veil dropping over it, but it's at a distance away from the face. This is not easy to do. This is not easy to do for the sisters. I appreciate that. But this will improve the quality of your Hajj. Yeah, in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should be covering our faces regardless anyway, out of ihram, in our day-to-day lives anyway. But in ihram, when you are going to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's house, then there's even a better reason as to why we should cover our face. Right, there's a misconception that I'd just like to clarify over here. Some people have this, and this is a lot with the sisters as well. So sisters normally, when they're wearing the normal clothing, they really tie their pins on their head or do their scarves or hijabs up very tight. Maybe their clothing, etc., is also very tight on the sleeves. So salah times come during travel whilst you're going there. But they think to themselves that I'm in ihram now and this is my clothing. I can't expose any part of my body. So therefore, I can't roll up my sleeves or take off my top modestly, privately, modestly, to do my wudu and wash my arms. So therefore, they just don't do it. So they don't perform salah. So this is a big misconception. Even for men, even once you're in the state of ihram, you can remove your 2 sheets and get changed into new 2 sheets. It's not that just because you came into ihram with the same 2 sheets, you have to stay in them. Similar for women, just because you've come into the ihram in those clothing, you can't do anything, etc. about that. No, if it gets dirty on the plane, etc., you have spare clothing and it meets the requirements of ihram, you can, of course, get changed. Yes?
You know when you put on you're changing your ihram, and then you put it over your head, wouldn't it like cover it for a bit?
Which head? Men's or women's? Because ihram is the sheet, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you're not going to be putting it over your head.
What about for women then? Like women putting on the clothes?
Yeah, women, it's only about the face.
Okay.
As long as a cloth doesn't touch the face, they're okay. They should cover everything else. Yeah? They should cover everything else. Right, and regarding point number 5. Sorry, just trying to put a laptop. Right. It's done. It's done. It's done now. Right, for women who are in the menses or postnatal bleeding, they won't perform the 2 rakat of nafil salah, but all they'll do is they'll make dua at this point and they'll move on with the journey. And with regards to point number 6, with regards to point number 8, intention can be verbal or non-verbal, and it can be in any language you prefer. As an example, you can say that, "Oh Allah, I intend to perform Umrah make it easy for me and accept it from me. Because this ihram you're going in, if you're going in Hajj Tamattu, which means you're doing two separate ihrams, then you don't need to say Hajj in this one. You're only saying Umrah in this one. So that's the intention you'd make over here. And the talbiyah you'd recite is Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik Labbaik la sharika laka Labbaik innal hamda wan ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak. Men should recite it loudly. Are women allowed to recite it loudly? If there's no strange men, which we call غير mahram, technically around, then they can recite it loudly. Loudly enough meaning not shouting, but just loudly enough. But if they are, which will be in the journey and throughout, then they shouldn't. But if they're doing it from their home and there's no non-mahram men over there, then they can recite it loudly as well. So by making the intention and saying that talbiyah, a person comes into the state of ihram. Talbiyah is a very, very important dhikr, the one that I just recited before you. It is the dhikr of ihram. You know, it's specific to ihram. So there's so many others you can do, but this one's very specific. So you should really learn it off by heart. Learn it off by heart and recite it as much as possible. In terms of dua, you should really humble yourself before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In this dua, you can ask for your worldly needs, the needs of your hereafter as well. Anything you want from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Do you make the intention before you pray the 2 rak'ahs or the other way around?
The intention is after the 2 rak'ahs. 2 rak'ahs, this is sunnah to pray. So that's why number 8 is below number 6, because it is the intention and talbiyah which activates it. So you do this as the last thing you do before you come into ihram. We should avoid wasting time at all costs. When you're on the plane, dear respected brothers and sisters, then be prepared to refuse the headphones. Well, not everything you're given you have to take, is it, in life? If you've got diabetes and someone's giving you cake, you're not going to just take it like that, are you? Right, so some people think that, but I'm just going to listen to Quran all the way, etc. If you have control over yourself, okay, fair enough. But for majority of the people, you've taken books with you. They're very specific to your mission. Your mission of Umrah and Hajj and Ziyarah is very specific to that. So you should study that. That's where you should spend your time. Listening to Quran, you do it all the time. And it's more of a spiritual pastime than a progressive time in terms of what's going to help you in your journey ahead. It's not specific to that. So you've taken books that are specific to that. So rather than taking the easy route out, which is I'll stay awake and I'll just listen to Quran and then I'll have my meals. Yeah, if you're tired, then you sleep. That's of course it's an action. No one's saying you read your books, then you sleep. You're tired, you sleep. But if you're going to stay awake, then do something which is going to help you ahead of your journey. That's why you're here today as well. You're here so you can learn how you can be supported on your way ahead. So we're going to give you books and try and invest your time in them. Right, let's move on. Ihram, restrictions. These restrictions were those that we mentioned, some of those that we mentioned. There's more coming up, but I just think I missed out clipping nails. Clipping nails is also with removing hair as well. So these are restrictions within the ihram we should abide by. So everything we were allowed to just do before ihram and we were encouraged, those things we cannot do in ihram. Intercourse, any form of application of scent, removal of hair, and removal and cutting nails as well. Sorry, did you just want to see that slide? This is the most expansive Hajj presentation I've done in the past 5 years. Still, I don't feel it's enough. Yeah, inshallah, next year I'd like to have these slides printed out for you, upon which you can make notes, so that you don't have to take photos of that. Inshallah, progressing. I'm sorry it's not ready for this year. Spent hours on it, but it's still not ready. The next is restrictions. The first 3 on this slide are specific for men. That is stitched close to the shape of the body. We can't wear that. We can't cover the raised bone of the foot. We're going to discuss that in the next slide, couple of slides. we can't also cover our face or our head. And as for women, if you do cover you're supposed to cover your face, but in a way that you can't have any cloth touching your face. Look, if you do commit a prohibition from these guidelines, then there's always a way to compensate for it. It's not going to void your ihram that it's broken now, and that's it. It's not, there's going to be a penalty, and the penalty can be very large, into hundreds of pounds as well. Hundreds of pounds for a single prohibition violation of these. But it doesn't take you out of it. So it's not the end of the world if it happens. Yeah, so don't completely become despondent and drop your hopes and think that I'm all ruined now. It's no point doing anything else, and take your heart out of it. These are all there so that we can perform it as close as possible to how it was performed at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Are you allowed to use a tissue? Yes, you are. You're allowed to use a tissue to wipe your nose. You're allowed to use a tissue to remove the sweat on your face as well. Yeah, you're allowed to use a tissue. You're not allowed to use a towel necessarily to wipe your face. Yeah, so when you say sweat from a tissue, we're talking about stroke. We're not talking about getting the whole tissue like a towel and wiping your entire face. Yeah, nose you can wipe, etc. A face towel we can't use. Scented soap we can't use. And one thing to note here is that you may get an opportunity in your ihram, especially in Hajj, in Mina, you may get an opportunity to jump into a shower or a toilet and take your ihram off and just drench yourself there and cool yourself down. Yeah, so are you allowed to do that or not? So people ask at the time of Hajj, am I allowed to take a bath? So if you're taking a bath to cool down, this is okay. But you shouldn't take a bath to remove the dirt from your body. So this intention and action that takes you to achieving this is all disliked. Yeah, so Allah wants to see you dirty and disheveled. He wants to see you like that. Yeah, but if you're extremely hot, etc., that's okay. So when we say we shouldn't remove the dirt, so if you use an unscented soap whilst you're in ihram, so you're not going to violate because it's unscented. However, you're removing the dirt from your body. So this is disliked because it goes against the spirit of the ihram. And do not think you're the only one that has got a bad smell over there. Millions around you are the same. Yeah, so you shouldn't feel left out or the odd one out. Let's talk about the protruding bone. Right, subhanAllah, I've come across this this year, mashallah. It's the most clearest I've come across. This needs to stay exposed. Got that? Okay, so let's see some things. These slippers, what do you think? Will your bones stay exposed?
Yeah.
Yes, of course it will, inshallah. What about this one? No. It's covered it. Look, it's too thick, the strap. What about that one? No, it's covered it again. It's covered it again. Or about, yeah, that's similar to that. Okay, let's have this example here. No, this one's okay. This one's actually okay. Look, they haven't concealed it. I'm going to show you a thick one, huh? I'm going to show you a thick one. Check that now. Yeah, this is the one that you don't want. Now look at them like this. Yeah, you can. Where are you going to find them in the listings of the thousands of listings on eBay and Amazon? I don't know, but that's the way basically it needs to be. Or just wear simple slippers. A lot of people take Crocs, for example, and they got. But when you buy the Crocs ones, you should buy the thin strap ones, not the thick strap ones. You must be mindful of that. The thicker strap ones look more comfortable and thick, but don't fall for that. Yeah, you're just going to waste money.
Is this bone to be covered? This bone.
Yeah, so there's a difference of opinion, but we're saying that one can that if that one's covered, then it's. Yes, if that one's covered, it's not an issue. It's not an issue. There's a difference of opinion in this. Shaykh al-Hadith Maulana Fadl Rahman al-A'zami, down barakatuhum, he said that the protruding bone, his research, so it's not the common research that the ulama they say, but he says the protruding bone is the ankle. It's not the one on your foot, but his is. I have not heard anybody else say that. But he's a very learned scholar, but I haven't heard anybody else say that. So we should stick to the majority of the opinion, which means the ankles is not the protruding bone. It is which is on the foot. Okay, enough of examples over there. Let's just move on. So I don't want to show too many feet over here. Yeah, but that slipper is definitely not good enough. Don't wear that one. Right, okay, let's move on. Ihram permissibilities. What's allowed for you? Covering of the feet with a blanket quilt. Remember, feet are not part of what you have to keep exposed. So if you're putting a blanket over your feet, don't worry about it. You're on a pillow, resting your cheek on the pillow, resting the back of your head on the pillow. There's no problem. You can do that because it's otherwise you shouldn't be covering your head and you shouldn't be covering your face for men. If whilst you're asleep, don't worry about what's beyond your control. I'm sleeping. Can I put 2 pillows on my side so that I don't turn over flat on my face? No, what's beyond your control is beyond your control. You're not responsible for that. Even if you wake up like that, as long as you don't remain like that, you're okay. So if you wake up with your face flat on the pillow, then as soon as you're aware you're like that, just turn around basically. Or turn on your side, which is sunnah. But then if you wake up like that, you say, oh yeah, just carrying on. And now this is a problem. There's penalty for that. Number 4, falling of hair without intent from your body. Just doing wudu and some hair fell off. It's not your fault, don't worry. Wearing of rings, watches, glasses. This is not impermissible. This can be worn. Of course, we want to keep as simple as possible. Yeah. So for women as well, keep as simple as possible. Yeah. There's no need that we have to wear rings whilst we're on this blessed journey. So the more less we travel with, it is better, and the less adornment there is, it is more in line with the spirit of the ihram. Yes.
How about sunglasses?
Sunglasses as well. Sunglasses. I know glasses. We're saying that they are a need. But Monagul Sahib, sunglasses? Yes. Monagul Sahib is here, so if I say anything wrong, he will tell me, inshallah. So I'm very fortunate that he's here today.
So you have to use a comb to comb your beard out.
So disheveled is how you want to keep it. If you're combing your beard and hairs fall out, then that's you intentionally having strike those out. If you just straighten your beard with your hands, so you're not intending to comb it, but imagine after wudu it's all over the place, and you just straighten it, and in straightening it with your hands, something fell out, this is forgiven, this is excused. But combing is intentional, and we know that when we comb it outside ihram, hairs fall out, and of course in ihram this is going to fall out anyway. To change one's garments, we've already discussed this. This is also permissible. 249. Okay, we're 10 minutes, we're 5-10 minutes away from the hour mark, so we want to try and conclude part 1. Let's hope, inshallah, we can do that. So we've landed in Jeddah, alhamdulillah. We've landed. So what have you got to do? I've only got 1 point still at the airport. Only 1 point for this part of the journey. Patience, patience, patience. Naeem bhai, this is correct? Okay, that's all right. Naeem bhai's traveled as well, so he will say yes. Think of any difficulty that you have to experience as a means of forgiveness of your sins. That's how you should mentally console yourselves and gather yourself and hold yourself together. It can be long. It can be long. On the way to Mecca, oh, look at that bridge that's got the Quran shape on it. It's the famous bridge. Everybody normally goes past that. Look, it's there. Wow, everybody look over there. Take photos and stay focused. Stay focused. Stay focused. Sometimes the people in the coach, they'll say, shuf, look, there's the clock tower over there. They say, look at the clock tower, you can see. You're nearing the ihram, you're nearing the haram, you're in the haram actually of Makkah, and you're nearing your hotel, you're coming closer to. There's no need to lose focus. Yeah, these are for those who go as tourists. You're not going there as tourists. Maybe a tourist visa, but you're not going there as a tourist. Yeah, you're not going there as a tourist. You're going there with a very specific focus. So recondition your mind and your focus and your attention. Continue reciting talbiyah. As soon as you come into ihram, talbiyah is your main dhikr. And as said, men should recite it aloud, women should recite it in a soft voice. It is against sunnah to recite the talbiyah collectively. Everybody does it though, isn't it, in the coaches? Labbaik, Allahumma labbaik, and everybody's like, oh yeah, let's join in as well, yeah. Now look, if everyone's doing it and you were doing it as well, and now you're distracted, then just do it in their tone with them as well, but do it quietly. Don't just, increase the volume of that as well. And sometimes the youth, they really like, everybody's right. Why they're quiet? Let's motivate them. So a couple of youth, they stop. Labbaik, Allah. Then everybody's again, oh yeah, wake up. Oh yeah, labbaik. Some people may be even resting, and you were causing inconvenience to them. They're really tired. They've done all the labbaiks money more before you as well in the flight everywhere whilst you were sleeping and astaghfirullah, maybe watching TV and whatnot on the plane. They've done all the labbaiks there. They're tired now. There's some rest before they want to rest up before they want to perform the umrah straight away. So, this is all against etiquette. It seems very glamorous, but it's all against etiquette, so we should be mindful of that. At Makkah, so you've arrived. Free yourselves from your necessities and then head to perform your umrah. Is it necessary to perform your umrah straight away? No, it isn't. Can you perform it after 1 hour? Yes, you can. Can you perform it after 6 hours? Yes, you can. Can you perform it the next day? Yes, you can. You can. However, the longer you stay in ihram, the more you've got to look after yourself from the prohibitions of ihram and the restrictions of ihram. So it's difficult. It's not easy. So if you need rest, take the rest. Yeah, go to the hotel, drop your stuff off. Most likely, there's obviously going to be coaches from the airports that have been organized by the Saudi ministry. You're going to be getting onto your coach, boarding. Everybody's going to be going together. Everybody needs to take off their luggage, put it into the hotel room, wait for your cards. It's a long process. It's cards, SIM cards, whatever cards. And it's a long process before you actually can say, right, okay, now I can just head to Haram and I'm dissolve my responsibility. This is all before you've even rested. So maybe after that point, you're as a man, you may be like, yeah, I'm okay, I'm fine, but your wife is tired. Yeah, or as a man, you're extremely tired because you've done all the waking up and the carrying, and she's absolutely fresh. Both of you have to consider yourselves and take care of yourselves. So if you're going together, then consider each other's rest points. If the women are in the menses or postnatal bleeding, then they shouldn't enter the masjid. Remember, they haven't performed their salah, any of their salah until this point, not even the one of ihram. They've not in ihram even until now. They will still need to abide by all the prohibitions of ihram. Sorry, what did I just say? They're not in the masjid until now. They still need to abide by the prohibitions of ihram. So to come into ihram, you don't need to be free from your menses or from your from postnatal bleeding. You have to still come into ihram, but you just won't perform the salah. You'll do your intention and do your talbiyah, and you'll go by all the restrictions. It's just that touching the Quran, entering the masjid, performing salah, all these things you can't do. Do not miss a single salah with jama'ah. The reward of one salah performed in Masjidul Haram is 100,000 times more virtuous. So if you perform that with jama'ah, then that multiplies it a minimum 25 times. So that's 250,000 times, 250,000 times of rewards. It is really wasteful to lose out on this reward just because of shopping, just because of going out, and etc. We should avoid this. Was that a question? 2.5 million, sorry, there you go, the calculation. 2.5 million, 4 zeros, sorry, yeah, that's probably just missing the reward. Control your gazes, let not shaitan and nafs get the better of you and ruin your hajj. Let not shaitan and nafs get the better of you and ruin your hajj. Control your gazes. Any sins that we commit, it decreases the reward and the wholesomeness of the hajj. When you intend to go to the masjid, then it is best to perform the wudu from the hotel. Yeah, don't rely on the wudu facilities at the haram over there, which are outside the masjid wall boundaries, and you have to go underground for that. Don't rely on them and perform it from the hotel. If you break it, then of course use it if that's closer, but don't rely on it. Entering the haram. Take a string bag, shoe bag with you. Enter reading the Masnoon Ad'iyah for when you're entering the masjid. Make intentional nafil i'tikaf for your stay in the masjid to reap continuous reward for every moment of your stay. So just do those things. Can I move on? Okay, you're eventually going to end up sighting the Kaaba as well. You're eventually going to be sighting the Kaaba as well. So we're going to inshallah go to that slide. When you are going to sight the Kaaba, then there's a nice way of doing it, and that is you do it in turns. meaning someone who's already been takes someone who hasn't been and guides them that look, don't look up, keep looking down. I'm going to take you close, stand you in a very convenient place that you won't be in anybody's space, so you can 15-20 minutes take your time and make dua from here, so you won't be inconveniencing someone as well. All right, ready, look up. That's one way of doing it. And one way is you just go in, and as soon as you see the Kaaba, you just make your dua, move to the side, and just make your dua there and then. Make dua to your fill. Do you have to perform Umrah straight away after that point? No, you don't have to. You can perform the Salah, that's probably coming up next. Go and eat, come back, and then carry on with your Umrah. So sighting the Kaaba is not connected to the Umrah. Yeah, that's separate. Yeah, it doesn't have to be connected to the Umrah. You don't have to do them consecutively. Again, at this point, you can make as many du'as as you want for your this one and the hereafter as well. We're going to be moving on to tawaf now. I do believe that the Q&A is very, very important because it actually touches the points which are very meaningful to you. So everything I'm giving right now is very superficial. Yeah, it's everything relevant but very superficial. But your pain points, I need to hear them. So inshallah, as soon as we finish the Umrah, we're going to have a Q&A. So sisters, if you can also kindly prepare your questions as well. Few pictures to begin with, inshallah. This is just where everything is located in the Haram. This is where everything's located. So located meaning, what does the Kaaba look like? Which parts of the Kaaba are called what? There'll be lots of reference to all of this in books. Hijr, Maqam Ibrahim, Hijr Ismail, the door of the Kaaba, the Multazam, the Iraqi corner, the Mizab, the Shami corner, the Yemeni corner, the Kiswa, what's Kiswa, the cloth, the black stone, the Hajar Aswad. All these are, so this is a very beneficial picture because it just directs you to everything. There's one point, we should be covering it, but just one point as I've remembered it, maybe we'll be covering it as well, is that you have to go around the Hatim, which is that brick type of a structure which is separate from where the cloth is donning the Kaaba. You have to go around that to do your tawaf. You have to just walk straight through and just go around. But I'm just saying that you have to go around that. And second thing, which is one of the discussions that I just had with the brother right now, is that, and I remembered, is that you're allowed to hold an umbrella over your head for shade. This is not a prohibition of ihram. Yeah, so if you want to go and perform your ihram in cool hours, in hot hours where the public is cool, is that better? Yeah, the public is cooled down, so there's less public. There's only less public when it's hot out there. That's why nobody goes there at that time. But still people go there. Why? To avoid the greater public time, which is from Asr till Fajr. Asr till Fajr, if you find a space in the Haram, then you are a lucky person. MashaAllah, that's how busy it is, especially in the Mataf area. If you find a space, you're very lucky. MashaAllah. From Fajr till Asr, this is the low off. This is the off-peak time. But off-peak still, the Mataf is full. Mataf is an open area. Let's go to the Mataf. There we go. Mataf is this open area, sky. You can just see the sky. This is called Mataf. If this is still busy, even when it's beating down with the sunshine, but it's less busy. Yeah, so your tawaf rounds can be done quicker if you are tired, etc. If you feel you don't have the strength or your soles of your feet really hurt, etc. Women are very, very lucky in Sharia. They're allowed to wear those pumps and the foot gear. They can wear that for inside the ihram. Inside the haram. So one is shoes that you wear outside the haram, and one is these rubber soles that you can wear to just walk on hard flooring. So you can have that in your backpack and just put them on whilst you're in the masjid, for example, because they're clean and you can wear them and you can do that. So women have this flexibility. Men have to really see your foot, your covering of your feet, which is very likely that you will be covered if you're going to wear something like that. Your bone will be covered. But women have this lot of flexibility. Women can wear socks as well, so these socks from Decathlon, etc., that have thick soles, walking socks, etc. They can wear them for cushioning. Men just have to do it the hard way. Right, so these are more pictures. Yeah, that's what it's gonna look like. SubhanAllah, such a blessed environment. So many people worshipping Allah. You got the Maqam Ibrahim, which is just hidden amongst people over there. You got Hajar Aswad in that corner. So you know where you see the lots of writing, the door shape writing on the cloth of the Kaaba. Next to that is the Hajar Aswad. So that's a good indicator for you. So where you see that lots of writing that runs down the Kaaba, the Hajar Aswad is there. And what the cloth, all that writing is covering the door of the Kaaba. So between the door of the Kaaba and the Hajar Aswad, you call that the Multazam. That's what you call the Multazam. I'm going to come to the next picture. Something maybe a bit more clear for you, what I was talking about, that between that writing that runs all the way down the cloth of the Kaaba and the Hajar Aswad, that's called the Multazam. Hajar Aswad is that corner rock that's placed over there. Maqam Ibrahim again is on that side where all that writing is running down the cloth of the Kaaba. That's where the Maqam Ibrahim is on. So lots of good indicators over there. Sorry. So you can take the photo, These have been really, to find these specific pictures and shots has been a lot of hard work. So do take the photos, they're beneficial for inshallah. That's the Hatim, that space in between. You see the police, they ward off. If you see right at the front, from the bottom, if you work up towards the Kaaba, you see some police standing there. You see a musalla over there. That's the Imam's musalla over there. So they make space for him. He comes right through. Then he starts performing the salah over there. That's one of the places that Imam potentially performs the salah as well. That's what it looks like a bit on a less busy time. Oh, there's a red light. So what have I just put a red light, a red rectangle around? What's that? That's a green light. What's that green light indicating? Yeah, that if you match the corner of the Kaaba and that green light, that corner of the Kaaba is Hajar Aswad, and Hajar Aswad is your starting point of your tawaf. So that green light is what you need to be looking for. Look again. Can you see? Marking it in the blue. Yeah, opposite to that is the Hajar Aswad. Yeah, so in daylight as well, they're still on. They may not be that visible, but still on. But then you can see where they're situated. When people say look for the green light, you're looking for it right in the vicinity where you're standing. Like, oh, where's the green light? Where's the green light? And you have no idea whether to look up, look through the shape of the building that's there. So they're placed inside the roof. It's an amazing sight you'll have. So I'm not going to take it away from you. But look, I just want to show you that the green lights again. It doesn't mean you're going to go through this door, but I'm just showing that. Look, green lights, you can still find and spot them. Again, just showing you green lights. Doesn't mean you're going to go through this door. Green lights doesn't mean you're going to go through this door or this angle, but again, look, it's very, very visible. You had enough of green lights? Let's move on. Hajar Aswad. Wouldn't it be lovely to find it like this? But that's the reality. There you go. That's what you find it like. The elbows, the pushing, the shoving, the women squashing in between, husbands taking their wives through this crowd, and it's just something which we should avoid. Something we should avoid. Look, kissing the Hajar Aswad to get your sins forgiven, you're going to commit many more before you get there. Yeah, so it doesn't make sense at all. And look, Allah knows your intentions. Allah knows why you're avoiding kissing the Hajar Aswad, because you don't want to cause people the harm. And then you make your dua, inshallah, Allah will forgive. Why won't He forgive? Look, people doing Islam with one hand, but it's done with two hands. People doing it different ways, different things. We're going to just be discussing that as well. These are the different gates of access into the Haram. They've got virtues. I've got no time to discuss. the virtues of these gates and which ones should be going through. But this is all in the books. You find this, you're already studying. There's lots for you to read about. This is on another daytime. This is another picture. Sorry, if you need to take a photo, tell me. Yeah, okay. This is another more daylight, in a different view of how it looks like. This is a place where Mas'a, where the sa'i starts of going back and forth. Mas'a means the place of sa'i. This is where you see Safa starting over there, and there's so many floors that you can go and do it. And if the floors get full, the police will just ward off those entrance to those floors and just direct you to the escalators or the stairs going upwards. Right, ready to discuss now about Tawaf? Yeah, now we need your full attention. We have a lot of points to go through. This is the most detailed part, so your attention is necessary. Wudu is necessary for Tawaf. You cannot do the Tawaf without wudu. This is condition. If your wudu breaks during Tawaf, then you must stop your Tawaf. Go make your wudu, come back from where you stopped and restart your round from there. I won't remember where I've just broken my wudu. How will I find that point? Is the common question. Just restart that round then from the Hajar Aswad. Very easy. Yeah, so if you've completed 3 and you broke your wudu on the 4th, then just restart from number 4, fresh. Tawaf starts and ends at the Hajar Aswad, the black stone. So find that first as soon as you enter the vicinity. So after you've done your dua, when you sighted the Kaaba, etc., find it over there. Intention is a precondition for Tawaf. So make sure you intend, verbally or non-verbally. Number 4, Iltiba is sunnah for all 7 rounds for men. So exposing the right shoulder. So remember I was telling you that there will be a certain point in your ihram that you will be required to expose your right shoulder. Did anybody bring the ihram with them today? We requested some to bring them, so I hope someone will bring them. Okay, so when you put your cloth in an angle like this, how I'm holding, I'm showing you, and you cover one end, you cover your left, and the other one you put it under your right arm and you bring it over to cover your left shoulder. So this, it doesn't apply to women, so men are seeing this. This is inshallah sufficient how I'm showing them right now. This is you exposing your right. Yeah, so this is how you need to do it. So I remember when I went, I used a safety pin and I told my wife that I'm going to tighten these 2, not so tight that I get strangled. I'm going to tighten these 2, apply a safety pin, and I'll take those very thick ones, because if you take thin safety pins or very small ones, they'll just rip through your ihram as you move. Yeah, so take thick ones, and try and take ones with some kind of volume to it. You get a covering on the pin as well. If you just take it with like the needle-shaped pins, then they also may just rip through your ihram. Even if they're thick, you'll lose them. You won't be able to find the start and the end of them, because they get hooked into the either ends of that pin, safety pins. So basically I told her, I'm going to pull my ihram on tight, so I want you to apply the safety pin at the back so that the top sheet doesn't keep rolling off and falling off. So it was very helpful. So that's permissible. Number 4 we're saying is that you got to expose your right shoulder for all 7 rounds. How many rounds do you perform? 7, mashallah. Number 5 is Ramal is sunnah in the first 3 rounds for men, and in simple words is to walk like a soldier. Yeah, let's not talk about running, walking fast, jogging, sticking the chest up. Walk like a soldier. And that's Ramal. So for men to do that in the first 3 rounds, this is sunnah. If you're ma'zur, if you have a disability, if you're weak, if you're tired, this is sunnah. If you leave it out, it's not going to destroy your tawaf. It's not going to make it void. W7, that's a woman's mas'ala basically. I've been counting 1 to 7. Probably, I don't know, we've been going through them. But the 7th mas'ala for the women is that women do not do iltiba or ramal. They don't do any one of these two. So they don't expose the right shoulder, nor do they walk like a soldier as well. This is only for men. Number 6 is, wherever you enter the haram, don't walk against the current of the movement of um, anti-clockwise, how they go around the Kaaba. So don't go against that to get to the Hajar Aswad. Wherever you enter the haram, walk with the flow until you get to the point of Hajar Aswad, and then start your tawaf there. Otherwise, you'll be in a lot of difficulty dodging people and causing a lot of inconvenience as well. So join the people going around the Kaaba from anywhere you can conveniently. Can you move on? Next slide. Yes.
When you start each round,
We're going to come to that point, inshallah. Right over here. Right, so number 7, line yourself up with Hajar Aswad and perform istiqbal. Now this is for men and for women. Perform istiqbal. And istiqbal is to raise both hands with palms in line and facing the Hajar Aswad and say, Bismillah Wallahu Akbar. This is called istiqbal. Yeah, there's something called istilam. This is called istiqbal. Istiqbal happens at the first point of, or the starting point. That's where istiqbal happens. This is istiqbal. So you raise your hands so the men can see me, like how you raise it in salah, with your palms facing the Kaaba, the Qibla, the Kaaba, like this, and you'll say Bismillah Allahu Akbar. So you're not going to raise it as if to your ear level and close to your face, like you're about to start salah, but you're going to point it towards the Hajar Aswad. Bismillah Allahu Akbar. That's it. There's no kissing the palms at this point. That's coming. That's not here though. This is just istiqbal. We're going to come to that point, so bear with me. Right, okay. The bullet point under number 7 is very, very relevant. Due to crowd, you may not be able to stand still and do this. And do this meaning just stand still, face the Kaaba with your hands, say Bismillah Wallahu Akbar, and then right, okay, I'm starting now. You can't stop because people are coming from behind. And so how do you do this? As you're walking, as soon as you're about to come in line, and it's very hard to say, right, okay, I'm in line, now I need to do this quickly and then move on. You can't do that. So as you're approaching, whilst you're passing through and slightly after passing, you just have to basically estimate that time and that line. Don't get too confused. Don't think, oh, am I in line right now? No, no, no. And the wife is saying, you're in line, do it now. No, no, it's a bit more left. So don't do all this. Yeah, just, you got your target, aim for it, get on with it. So you feel you're in line, get on with it now. Yeah, you know, Allah's perfect. We're not perfect. Okay? Allah's perfect. And Allah's looking at your intention at this point. By not being exactly in line, He won't void your tawaf, decrease your reward. You made the effort to be in line, that's enough. So due to crowd, you may not be able to stand still. So therefore, as you're approaching it, twist your waist to face the Kaaba in walking motion. And as you start to line up with the Hajar Aswad, do number 7 then. Yeah, so you're walking, twisted my waist. Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. And then just turned around again and carried on, showing my left shoulder to the Kaaba because we're going around anti-clockwise. It is impermissible to cause someone inconvenience in trying to get close up to the Kaaba. This is at any time during your tawaf. So don't cause inconvenience. Number 8. Now you will perform 7 rounds. Every time you approach the Hajar Aswad corner, you will perform istilam, a new term. So what does this mean? Exactly like the first, to start with. Raise the hands with the palms facing in line with the Hajar Aswad, say Bismillah Wallahu Akbar, but then you're going to kiss your palms without making noise. This is istilam. Yeah, so if you had to do it in the actual method, this is a replacement method which is fully appropriate as well. The actual method is that you'd put your hands on the covering around the Hajar Aswad. So you put your hands there, you put your mouth right through that covering to get to the Hajar Aswad, and you would kiss the Hajar Aswad, and then you would take your hand up, your face out. This is how it's actually done. But it's not possible. Not possible or not possible without a push and a shove and elbowing and lots of inconvenience and men and women in inappropriate close contact. It's not possible. So therefore, the replacement method of that, which is completely suitable, is this: that just raise your hands, Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, and then kiss your palms. So this is a replacement for that. Number 9 is don't use a wheelchair or scooters, electric, etc., without the need to actually use it, as this will incur a penalty. Your tawaf will still count, but you have violated a right, which is that you should do it standing, not on a ride. So in those days, there were rides, camels, etc. So equivalent of rides is wheelchairs, scooters. Yeah, if you're in need, there is no problem. Your tawaf is accepted and your sa'i will be accepted as well. But even in sa'i, this is a problem as well, that people unnecessarily just jump on with the youngsters who are saying, Haji, 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 come, I'll take you on the wheelchair for you and do it for you. So you think that, oh yeah, easy stuff. I got money, it's fine. No. You have to do that also, walking and not without reason. Otherwise, that will incur a penalty. Move on. Sad? Yes.
What if someone like pushes you out of the way and your shoulder?
Very good. We're just coming to that. I hope so. I did include that somewhere. Did I mention that? Let me just see. If I don't mention it, that was meant. If you don't see it, I'll mention it, inshallah. Should I include it somewhere? Okay, we're going to move on to the next slide. Yeah, here we go. That's number 10. Keep your left side facing the Kaaba during all the rounds of tawaf. Showing any other side intentionally means you have to repeat that part of your tawaf. Intentionally means that I just want to look at the Kaaba whilst I'm walking around, and you just turn your entire body that way and you walk like that. Or you just start walking the opposite direction because your wife has fallen behind you or you've lost her. Any intentional turning around and showing any other side besides your left means that part of your tawaf doesn't count, meaning you have to start again from that part. That's what it means. If due to others pushing or shoving you, your left side turns away, then there is no problem in this. Then it's no problem. Then don't worry. It's not your fault. It's not intentional is where the problem is. Number 11. Focus on quality as well as quantity. And I've mentioned a bit of this. Avoid focusing on others. Improve the quality of your tawaf. Avoid focusing on the beautiful chandeliers of the masjid and the decorations and those big constructions that are happening. And avoid cutting rows and trying to shortcut this and quickly as possible. How can I just get through this? This is shaitan doing this to you. Really, shaitan's doing this to you. You come all the way this way, and your only concern is, I can squeeze through there, and I can make this round quicker. Or I can squeeze through there. Okay, now I need to come out of it because it's busy. Now I need to go back in. This is all shaitan. He's doing this. What sin is this, your daughter? This is all what shaitan is doing. So don't fall into this trap. Pick a route, stick to the route. Yes, if because of busyness or let's say crowd where you feel you're going to get squashed, and because of that you're seeking another path, so you move in or move out, that's different. Number 13. They are prescribed ad'iyah for different points of the Kaaba, but not for each round per se. Do you get that? So I haven't included the ad'iyah, I've told you this in the beginning. They're all in the books that I'm going to give you out. They're all there. But there's no specific dua for a round. So that in this round do this. In second round say this. In third round say this. These du'as, majority of them, they're masnoon at all times in your life. But scholars have said, it's good if you make this dua over here. So they said, round number 1 dua. Round number 2 dua. Round number 3 dua. But there's no specific dua like this in the sunnah. Prescribed to those rounds. I said to a youngster who was traveling for Umrah just about 2 months ago, I said to him that, look, I tell you a very good way. Pick 7 groups of du'as that you want to make, 7 types of du'as. So one group can be parents. So in one circuit, one round, Make any and every dua and repeated duas for your parents only. If you can't think of new duas, just repeat the same ones, but just for your parents. Second round, dedicate it for all the believers that have passed away, for example. Third, for all those that are ill and nearing death. Fourth, for all your worldly needs. Or let's say if job is, and finding a job is the biggest stress of your life right now, so fourth is for job specific. For example, fifth, sixth, seventh, like that, for your hereafter as well. And so pick and fix groups of du'as for each round. Because there's nothing specific. But main thing is keep focused on yourself. Keep focused on yourself. Stop wandering around, gazing, etc. Number 12. Avoid touching any part of the Kaaba in ihram as it is perfumed. Doing so will incur a penalty. What level? It depends on how much you touch and how much body part of yours touches. So books will say that, oh, you should go to the multazam and rukn yamani and touch it and put your cheek on it, for example, put your hands on it and make dua there. So those are all times when you're not in ihram. Or actually you are in ihram, but the Kaaba was not perfumed. It's that scenario. But with perfume, this is the potential problem now. And even if you don't see a cloth on the Kaaba, on the bricks of the Kaaba, what they do is that they just roll the cloth up. They perfume the whole cloth whilst it's on it, then they roll the cloth up. So when you touch the Kaaba and you think it's only brick, it's not scented now, the cloth is on. The brick is scented because of the amount of time it's been in contact with the cloth. Yeah, so still there'll be a problem over there. Yes, it is. Same. Yeah, same. Mashallah, same. Now, bullet points. Best to make dua from the bottom of your heart than to hold a book whilst walking around. This I always advise, and the scholars advise this as well. This is same when you come to ziyarah as well. This is the same thing, same point. That you're walking around with a whole list of your duas and books. Your focus is not there. Then you're bumping into people. People are bumping into you. You're trying to watch your step, and you're trying to read your book. Your heart doesn't get in it because it's not a natural way of walking and thinking. Yeah, so that's what happens. I'm not saying this is haram. I'm just saying it's not ideal because your heart can't be in it. For example, if there's an imam leading Tarawih Salah, I'll give you an example, and it's a very difficult few rukus of the Quran, like hifz, memorization wise. So his focus turns to the correction of the memorization, then towards the meaning. So in those portions, you'll seldom see him emotional in those portions. Why? Because his full focus is that I shouldn't make a mistake here. So this is what I'm saying to you, that when you're walking around the Kaaba, or you're going for ziyarah, and how do I say my salam to the Prophet? What's the words in Arabic? What's the words to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu? What's the words to Umar radiallahu anhu? If your focus is on the wordings, then it's very hard to put your emotion inside it. That's what I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's haram. Just saying, try and be well prepared beforehand. You've got so much time to revise. Dua at this point around the Kaaba can be in any language you want, and you can ask for both needs of the world. Final 3 points on this point here, then we would have finished the tawaf. Best to fix a meeting point with those you are doing tawaf with, so that if you do get lost in the tawaf, then you know that after the 7 rounds are finished, when we're going to perform the salah behind or somewhere in the vicinity of the haram, behind Maqam Ibrahim or somewhere in the vicinity, then this is our meeting point. So you fix a time and you fix a meeting point. So you say, okay, tawaf, after tawaf, salah behind Maqam Ibrahim, or at any point if it's too busy, then we will meet at the Zamzam taps under this location, for example, like that. Or we're going to meet at where it says Babul Umrah. So do another tawaf until you don't get to Babul Umrah, and then I'll see you there, right by this pillar. You have to be very specific because there's so many people there. Number 15, don't cross people when they're performing salah. The minimum you should leave out is the space that they would cover on the floor if they were to perform a sajda. So that much space you must leave out. So don't cross rows right in front of people. It's very disrespectful. Very disrespectful. There's big warnings in the hadith as well. Busyness of the Kaaba may make you get very close, but try and avoid that. Number 15, also number 15, then number 16. If salah begins whilst you're performing tawaf, stop your tawaf. Perform your salah where you are, and then carry on your tawaf after salah. So after salah, you can even perform your, so for example, adhan happens. So stop your tawaf, but you can't stop your tawaf there where people are still moving. So that's a big thing you gotta remember. You can't say, no, I've got to stop it right here, and people are coming saying, no, we're carrying on. So you're crushed. It's got your, that's no good. So normally people stop it very close to salah time, like jama'ah time. They don't even stop for sunnah. They just stop very close to salah time. So stop when it's stopped. And if you want to stop at that point, then just carry on going round, and working your way out until you get to the point where people are performing salah. Then you stop at that point, perform your salah there. You can perform salah before the jama'ah, finish your salah after the jama'ah, and then relax fully, continue your tawaf from that point. There's no rush. It must be together. So straight after jama'ah, you have to carry on straight away. No. Perform your sunnah, then carry on from that point. Just like you break your wudu, then it's not a rush. Oh, that means you can't go to this wudu area and that wudu area. You got to go to the closest one and come back for your tawaf. You go do wudu where it's convenient, and then come back and perform your tawaf.
If you done less than 4 rounds, should you repeat the whole tawaf, or should you?
So I've read that in some books, but I haven't read that in some either. So in my opinion, in what I've researched, no. Yeah, but you can consult a mufti in this. Yeah. Right, after tawaf, right, brothers, gone round, and sisters, gone round 3 times. For brothers, cover your right shoulder now. There's no need to expose your shoulder now. And go behind or in line with Maqam Ibrahim and pray 2 rakat salah. Sometimes it's so crowded, forget in line. If you just get a space in the mataf to stand, this is a big thing. So it's not necessary that these 2 rakats can only be performed in line with the Maqam Ibrahim or right behind it. You can perform it anywhere. To the extent that, the hudud of haram, which is before you've even got to the masjid, even close to the marbles, is where the hotels, etc. As long as you perform these 2 rakat in the hudud of haram, these 2 rakats are wajib to perform, necessary. But even if you perform in the hudud of haram, it's still counted. That's how important these are, and that's how much flexibility there is. And we shouldn't unnecessarily delay these 2 rakats. And then after this, make dua. It's a time of acceptance. Ready to quench your thirst? Very tired? Zamzam now, Zamzam time. Drink to your full from wherever the taps are located. Make dua facing the Qibla. Whilst you're staying in Makkah now, drink lots of Zamzam. Just a point, general point, because we're mentioning Zamzam. That drink lots of Zamzam, and after drinking Zamzam, Rasulullah ﷺ said that the supplication is as you want it after you drink Zamzam. So whatever you supplicate, as you supplicate it, Allah accepts your supplication. This is after any time you drink Zamzam. It is preferable. Sorry, I think point number 3 is just with point number 2, but it's supposed to be separate. It is preferable to perform istilam again after heading for sa'i. It is preferable to perform istilam again. So what was istilam? Show your palms to the Hajj Aswad and then kiss your hands. Quite. That was istilam. Okay? So this is preferable. But after you go to the taps, sa'i is very close. The place of sa'i is very close. So you may say, going back into there and then finding that line, doing that, then coming back to the place of sa'i, I haven't got the strength for that, for example. Or there's women, there's elders with you, weak people with you, we can't do this, they can't wait as well, they're very tired, they're very hungry, so then it's okay. Just carry on, move on. This is preferable. Right, ready for indoor worship? Okay. Let's go to the place of Mas'a. So I will populate you with images to make it easy, inshallah. Green lights, we'll be talking about them. Between green lights, we'll be walking briskly. There'll be 7 rounds. Safatul Marwa will equal 1 round. Starting from Safa, you will, and when you do the 7th round, you will finish at Marwa. I'm going to go through this detail after the slides as well. This is Marwa Mount. This is walking down now, back to Safa. And now to the detail. There's 12 points here, so it's detailed. I just made it detailed to try to make it very easy for you. It's best to do your sa'i on the bottom floor, but you have to follow instructions to whichever floor you're taken to if it's very busy. Number 2, wudu is not necessary for sa'i. So remember that. If you break your wudu, you don't have to leave sa'i, go make it and then come back. You don't have to do that. Doing sa'i on a wheelchair scooter, again, without need, will incur penalty. So don't do that. Make intention for sa'i from the start of Safa. Facing the Kaaba, say 3 times, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah. You'll see the people on the wheelchair, they say Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, Bismillah. So they'll say different versions of it as well. So Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah 3 times. Number 6, make dua for the duration whilst you're there. After having said that, where it takes at least the duration of reciting 25 ayat of the Quran. 25 ayat of the Quran. How much is that duration? Recite 25, you'll know. So practice 25, you'll know how long that is. So make dua over there. Number 7 is now walk towards Marwa. So up until number 6, you haven't moved off Safa. Up till number 6, you haven't moved off Safa. Now number 7, we're saying walk towards Marwa. Now you're going to come across the green lights because this is your first lap, your first length. Yeah. So I'm using the word length very specifically because, like the Kaaba, you had to do 7 rounds. Those 7 rounds, we use the word circuit because a circuit is a full circle. So you have to do 7 circuits. And in sa'i, it's lengths because one length is Safa to Marwa. Another length is Marwa to Safa. Another length is Safa to Marwa. So you have to do 7 lengths. Yeah. So if you were doing it in even numbers, you'd end up from where you started. But because you're doing it odd, you're finishing on an odd number, number 7. That means even though you're starting from Safa, you'll end up at Marwa on the 7th, at the end of the 7th length. If you didn't understand that, don't worry. Just start from Safa, and one length is Safa to Marwa. Like that, do 7 lengths. When you come to the green lights, number 8, then for men this is jog or walk in a hurried manner between the 2 green lights. And let me just give you the why this is here. When Hajra alayhi salam, when she was running to find some water, something that she could feed herself, gain that strength, and give milk to her son Ismail alayhi salam, then he would go out of sight where she would reach the green light point. There's no green lights there, but at that point he would go out of sight. So she would hurry ahead just to see if there's anything ahead of her, like in a hurried manner, and then go back or after she would hurry and reach the other end of the lights, she would have elevated higher because they were proper mountains. She would elevate it high enough that she could see Ismail alayhi salam again. And when she would come back down Marwa, for example, and reach a low point where she couldn't see him again, she would hurry through past those points until she would be raised again on Safa to that level where she could see Ismail alayhi salam. So it's not running, but it's hurrying. And this is only for men. The Muslim number 8, W8 for women, is that women will walk in normal pace at all times. Upon reaching Marwa, repeat point 5 and 6 again. What's 5 and 6? Once you get to Marwa, face the Kaaba. So basically they've got lines drawn on the floor. I don't know if we can go back and see the lines. Can you see the lines on the floor? Can you see that big line right in front of you from the bottom? Not clear here. Just actually the lines are clear here, but they're it's horizontal, straight upwards, vertical. Anyways, right, okay, you can see the line right in front of you. There's a thick line on the floor that's running, a brown line. There's another line in front further, if you can see it's a bit faded, and there's lines like this. All these lines, they're there so that when people have to perform salah, then they will be facing the Kaaba. So when we are saying that when you get to Marwa, face the Kaaba and make dua, you can't see the Kaaba because there's building, there's brick, it's building. But if you see the lines, then if you stand with your heels on those lines, then you will be facing the Kaaba, basically. That's how you know you're facing the Kaaba.
So it's like Salah time, and then you just do sign. And then
It's coming up, inshallah.
Oh,
What you do at that time is coming up. Yeah, no, but it's good. It's good. But we said we don't want to be running, is it? We have to just be hurrying. Mashallah. Number 10 is complete 7 lengths. So Safa to Marwa is 1 length. Number 11, we're saying you will finish at Marwa eventually. Number 12, we're saying perform 2 rakat salah now. No, we missed. No, it's not here actually. I thought I included it. No, it's not here. Yeah, so similar to Tawaf, if in Sa'i Salah starts, then stop where you are, make your Saf, and continue your Sa'i from there. If the Safs are at different points, so everybody's not making the Saf there, the Saf is behind you from where you're walking or ahead of you. So just go behind then and just restart your Sa'i from that point. Yeah, but you don't have to restart the entire lap. It is there, number 12, bullet point.
Is it like segregated? How would it work?
No. Women move to a side, they do their own, make their own stuffs, and men do their own. That's how it works. And the police over there, they separate the men and women at that time as well. The second bullet point is there is no specific dua for sa'i except for when you're between the green lights, you say Rabbi ghfir warham innaka antal a'azzul akram. Again, if you can't write it down, we're going to give you books. It's all inside there. Shaving or trimming? Number 1. Now you will shave or trim your hair. For men, shaving is more virtuous. Number 3. For trimming, the hair must be at least an inch long. This is for trimming. You can't trim hair that's not even an inch long. You have to shave it. Otherwise, you have to shave the head. So for example, let's say you did your Umrah as soon as you came in. And then you said, there's more time. I want to do another Umrah. So you went to the Miqat point. You went to Masjid Aisha, caught a taxi, then did your intention and talbiyah from there. You donned your ihram from the hotel, for example. You did your ghusl, etc. And then you did your intention and talbiyah from there. Then you came back in with the taxi, back into the haram. And you finished your tawaf. Now, it's only been 2 days since you did an Umrah. So you hardly got any hair on your head. But to run a blade even over such head, and all the barbers know this, this is sufficient, needed and sufficient, that you've shaven your head. So men with long hair, that's a very important point, men with long hair must trim a minimum of 25% of their hair. Cutting an inch that amounts to less than 25% of the hair will not suffice. Now, if you got normal length hair, you're not going to have 20. It's not. It's always, the inch will always be more than the quarter of your head. If you've got normal hair, but if you're keeping long hair, intentionally long hair, I'm not just talking about normal fringe hair. It's about actual long hair like zulfa. You're actually keeping it if you were to put your hair back, it would drop up to your earlobes or below. Now you need to ask yourself this question. Otherwise, don't worry. Just trim an inch if you want to trim. Or shave the head if you want to shave the head. However, shaving the head is more virtuous. Rasulullah ﷺ asked for forgiveness for such people who shave their heads, men, 3 times, and for those who trim only once. So shaving is more virtuous. Now, woman mas'ala number 9. When approximating an inch, women must do this from the hairline where most of the hair meet when the hair is dropped at the back. Yeah, so where most of the hairs meet, not from where some strands of overgrown hair are. Yeah, so if you were to hold a batch of hair, if you were to hold a batch of hair in our hands, then you'll see that some strands of hair are just dangling and they're above the normal hair drop line. So you can't say I'm going to roll it, I'm going to measure an inch and roll 2 fingers from there and then cut it. That's not sufficient. It has to be cut from the actual majority of the hairline. Remember, because trimming 25% of the hair, you have to do that. So if you're rolling your finger up from a few strands and then you cut, you're not going to cut 25% of your hair there at all. So from where your normal hairline is, and I must mention, it's not over here, but I must mention that our sisters should not use this opportunity to shorten their hair intentionally. That I want a different type of a cut. I want to take off 5 inches off my head and I want short hair now. So this is a great halal opportunity for me to do this. So it's not like that. Yeah. It's not like that. We should consult our scholars as to if we're allowed to trim our hair in normal circumstances as well, and how much are we allowed to. Dear respected brothers and sisters, you are now officially out of ihram. May Allah accept your umrah. Now, just before we break up, your stay in Mecca. Um, meditate that this could be your last trip. So anytime you're spending in, you see what happens is that once you come out of the two cloths of ihram and the state of ihram, then shaitan makes you think, you know what, I'm done now, I'm okay, yes, relax, let's go shopping, let's go see this place, let's go there, let's go there, let's go there, let's go to the Kiswa factory, and let's go everywhere. Yeah, but no, you're not here for a number of things that I've just mentioned. Meditate that this could be your last trip and you'll never get this opportunity again. So use your time properly. Number two, spend as much time in ibadah. Try and stipulate a Quran khatam for yourself. This will keep you busy. You know, there's two types of copies of the Quran. One is your Asian print, the 13-line Mus'haf, and one is the 15-line print. Both are available in the Haramain. Yeah, but they're not conveniently available. Yeah, so you can't just find them in every corner or every 10 steps. So you don't find Qurans like that. So therefore, if you take your own and keep it in your pouch, and keep your pouch in a respectable height, it's on your chest, tied around your chest, etc., just under your arm, etc. So then you can read from your own Quran and your dua kitabs, etc. Number four, avoid wandering. We can get everything from anywhere in the world except for the spirituality. So make every effort to stay focused on that. Number five, be punctual with 5 times salah with jama'ah. Number six, tawaf is more superior than nafil salah when in the haram of Makkah. Number seven, ihram, no sa'i is required for optional tawaf. So once you're in your normal clothing and you're saying, I just want to do tawaf, I don't want to do umrah, I just want to do tawaf. Tawaf is 7 rounds. For that, you don't need to clothe yourself in a certain way, which you're calling ihram, nor do you need to perform sa'i after that. It's just 7 rounds. Number 8, if you go for ziyarah, visit of places, then be respectful and make an effort to study about those places beforehand. Number 9 is the greatest worship is avoiding sin. I think I've just got a few things here for you quickly, just as a summary. To enter into the state of ihram for umrah, this is fard. Tawaf is fard. Sa'i is wajib. And shaving or trimming of the hair is wajib. What's fard? What's wajib? You have to do all of it. You've got to do all of it. These are technical definitions. If you miss a fard out, your umrah is void. If you miss a wajib out, it incurs a penalty, but your umrah is still intact. Umrah overview, ihram from the miqat, you'll do tawaf from Hajar Aswad, and as soon as you start your tawaf, you stop your talbiyah at that point. Men will do ittiba, which is exposing the right shoulder, make your niyyah, face the Hajar Aswad, do istiqbal, do istilam, that's in your other rounds after that. Start your round with Ramal, the first 3 rounds, come back to Hajar Aswad, do istilam, then do your second and third rounds. Second and third we mentioned in specific over here because your Ramal will be first 3 rounds. Then your 4th to 7th round will be without Ramal. After 7th round, do your 8th round and followed by istilam. Then cover your right shoulder. That means come out of ittiba. 2 rakats of Tahiyatul Tawuf. It's just the name. Basically, 2 rakats coming out of ihram, doing them behind Maqam Ibrahim, what we've already discussed. Make your dua, drink Zamzam, go to Safa. At Safa, face Qibla, say Takbir, 4th Kalima, Durood, dua, so many good things you can do. Proceed to Marwa, walk briskly between the green lights. At Marwa, do the same as Safa, proceed to Safa, and we carry on until we finish the 7 rounds, and then we remove the hair to come out of ihram. That is simply what we've discussed in the past 50 minutes. I should have just done this, isn't it? It's so easy. Yeah, but we've learned very, very important points. For optional tawaf, there's no Ramal, there's no ittiba. Extra umrahs, you have to do niyyah for Masjid Aisha, you have to actually go there as well. If janazah salahs happen, they normally happen after every salah, there's announcements. So don't just start praying your sunnah straight after, wait for the announcements. Pray the janazah salah, then do your janazah salah. So did you get your photo? Times for salah. Never put anything in front. So during salah, never put anything in front of you whilst you're praying your salah, especially valuables like glasses, keys, and phones. Somebody may just step on them, kick them away from you as well, unintentionally, and you're in salah, so you're in a lot of problem. You're allowed to break your salah, just a mas'ala, you're allowed to break any salah if you fear the loss of your life or property. You're allowed to do that. We're saying don't put yourself in that position. So don't pray where people are doing tawaf, get knocked over, pushed over. Don't put your valuables where people can kick them around and destroy them. Muhadhat. What's muhadhat? Muhadhat is haram. What is it? Praying salah next to a woman. Praying any salah behind a woman. So praying salah next to a woman or behind a woman. So we should avoid that. If a woman comes and prays next to you and you're in salah, finish your salah off and then move on. Jumu'ah salah, go to haram early. How early? There is real, you just can't go early enough basically. Stay there after Fajr. Checklist. Have you got your copies of passport and flight ticket? Have you got an extra ihram? Have you got your money? Big notes, best notes, cards as well. Have you got a money belt? How are you going to keep your money safe? Got an alarm clock? Your phone sometimes is sufficient. If your battery dies, then you're out of an alarm clock. Have you got inflatable pillow, sleeping bag, shawl, bag, small and big ones for pebbles? It's up to you, small or big, whichever you keep. Slippers and bag, pocket-sized Quran, tawaf tasbih. Sometimes people keep the click tasbihs for tawaf just to keep count. It's very easy to forget which one you're on. Trust me, I've done it. It's very easy to forget which one you're on. Yeah, sometimes you're on the fifth one and I'm on my fifth or sixth. It can easily happen. Yeah. So click tasbihs are quite good. Or yes.
If you forget, then would you do the lower number?
The lower number, yes. Yeah. Does anybody have any other brighter way of remembering which number you're on? Anybody has any ideas? How would you remember? A pen and just tally on your hand, maybe? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How are you going to hold those fingers on and keep your thumb on those fingers as you're doing your rounds? It's very, very difficult. So find a way. Islamic books. A marker, a rope. This is just to hold yourselves together, like each other together. It's nothing. You can ignore that. Food. You've got your food arranged. Hotel card, backpack, mobile phone. Extra battery pack for your mobile phone, medicine, that's not on there, just mention that right now. Medicine, your basic medicine. You do not need to take a box of paracetamols and a box of ibuprofen and a box of this and a box of Diarolite and all that stuff. Diarolite is quite an important one. Just remember that. Shopping list. Subhanallah, who put this on here? So look, shopping lists they were allowed all this, okay? But we're just saying fix a time for it. Everyday shopping, etc. The women say, no, I haven't found the hijab I want. Can we go again? Can we go to this mall, that mall? Is there another mall? Can you search 5 blocks down? All this, just so avoid all that. And also gifts. The biggest gift is dua that you can make for anyone, old and young, from the haram. When you're there, for anybody who's here, if you're on your shopping route, you're one day and you find something suitable and you buy it, fair enough, but don't make it a mission that I need to go buy and find those kind of toys that say labbaik Allahumma labbaik, and for my son I need to buy that car, and for my girl I need to buy the doll and all those things. And don't do that. Dear respected brothers and sisters, break for refreshments, inshallah. We'll rejoin at about 4 o'clock, inshallah. So after a good 5 minutes, inshallah. If there's any questions sisters have, they can pass it through. And brothers, if you have, then I'm available over here. After that, we'll be continuing the 5 days of Hajj. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Just before I continue, I'd just like to ask everybody who's participated here today, the sisters can inshallah message. Alhamdulillah, they've done that right now. You're getting the response to your question now. If you feel that the next part of the program should be tweaked in presentation wise in any way, please tell me. If it's too fast, tell me, we'll go slower. If it's too detailed, then I'll cut detail. If too many slides, we'll move off. Having said that, alhamdulillah, we've covered 89 slides. That's a big achievement, and we've only got 129 to go through, which is why I said in the beginning that Umrah will take the most amount of slides. After that, it's not that hard. So Yeah, so basically we've covered about 70% of today's program. There's only 30% left. And 30%, you may be thinking Hajj is the main part of it, but there's not that much detail to it. I haven't even included that much as well, to be honest. I mean, your Umrah, if you've heard properly and made notes, then yeah, I think you've learnt enough rulings. You won't need to ask anyone else. You've learnt enough. Um, in Hajj, I haven't included that much rulings. In Hajj, the main things are to do with timings. When should you do pelting? What time to what time is best, etc. This is all in the books, and it goes day by day in the books. So inshallah, look through them. You're going to be given them, and you can read all the rulings there. But there's not much. So, is there any alteration in the type of presentation? No. Okay. Okay, then we can carry on, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, we can carry on. Right. 5 days of Hajj. Up to the 7th of Dhul Hijjah, these are not called the days of Hajj. The days of Hajj are 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. That's 5. There can be a 6th day as well, depending on whether you decide to stay in Mina after a certain time of the day on the 6th. Then it becomes necessary for you to pelt before you come back to Azizia or to the hotels in Makkah, wherever your stay is at that point. It depends. But otherwise, generally, after the 12th, nobody stays in Mina. Normally, nobody stays in Mina. That's why they say there's 5 days of Hajj. That's it. So if your package is 14 days, 21 days, only 5 is Hajj. The rest is quite easy. The rest is quite easy. So again, be optimistic that, inshallah, no matter how much people are going, how is it going, it's only 5 days of Hajj. Yeah, sleeping is a bit tight. It's only 5 days of Hajj. Food is not on time. It's only 5 days of Hajj. So try and look at the positive sides of it. The content and overview of this is going to be quite simple. We'll be discussing the types of Hajj and what to do before the 8th of Dhul Hijjah. Day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of Hajj, meaning 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th Dhul Hijjah. Day 6, we'll see if we want to talk about that. Then we'll talk about Tawaf al-Wida, which is after you leave and after Hajj. Normally, we talk about Tawaf al-Ziyarah, which is the Tawaf after you've completed on the 10th, basically, after you've come from Mina, walking right through, you've pelted the 3 Jamarat, and you've come into the Haram of Makkah, whether walking by bus, etc. Then you do a Tawaf there, that's Tawaf Ziyarah, but that's normally taught in between those days. That's why we haven't mentioned it specifically over here. We've only mentioned Tawaf Wida, because that's your final farewell Tawaf, so that's normally done after the days. Right, moving on. Types of Hajj. Hajj Qiran. Hajj Qiran, this is when an Umrah and Hajj is performed in one ihram. This is not normally done, but it can be done. Hajj Ifrad. This is when the ihram is only for Umrah. This normally people who are residents over there do this. Otherwise, when we enter the miqat, we have to put ihram on for Umrah before we even put the ihram on for Hajj. And the third, which is in bold, which is what normally people do, is Hajj Tamattu'. And this is, you come into one ihram, you do your Umrah, come out of it. Then you come into another ihram and do your Hajj, and then come out of it. So how many states of ihrams? 2. This is the one that we will be discussing about now. If you're doing any one of the first 2, if you want to know about the first 2, we can speak after, inshallah. But for this presentation, we're doing number 3. Before the 8th of Dhul Hijjah, come into ihram. The procedure will be the same as coming into ihram for Umrah. Number 2, it is better to come into the state of ihram in Masjidul Haram. So we're saying about the number, remember number 8 and 9 was intention and talbiyah, and those were the 2 things that were essential to come into ihram. What we're saying here, that it is preferable, mustahab, to do that in Masjidul Haram in Makkah. Do it there in the masjid rather than in your hotel or anywhere else. Make a note of the adhan times of all 5 salah in Makkah, so you know what times to perform them when you will be in Mina. there will be no adhan that will be called out aloud from any mic and speaker in Mina. Everybody will be doing it in their own tents, doing it at times. Now, you may want to plan your time in a certain way, but you don't know what time the next. So you see, in Mina, there's a lot of flexibility. You know, people do many group jamaats. So, for example, if you're 5 and you say, okay, let's go and go and see my uncle in this other tent, for example. Go see him if he's okay, etc. Otherwise, you should avoid wandering around. But we're just saying, you go out. I need to stretch my legs. My knees are hurting. I want to go for a walk and come back, for example. Now, you don't know which time it is, which time Dhuhr is finishing and Asr is starting, and you haven't prayed your Dhuhr, for example. So you need to know the time of when adhan times are normally. So if you know, and in Makkah and Medina, the adhans are given at the beginning times. So as soon as the adhan time happens, up to the adhan time, you can pray the previous salah. That's how it works, basically. So if you note the adhan times in the last 2-3 days before you head out for the 5 days, or you head out to Aziziyah, or if you go to Aziziyah first and you're spending your time there first, then you'll have a local masjid, and the local masjid will have their own timetable there. So just note down those times over there. It doesn't have to be the Haram of Makkah times, but just have them, because there's no timetable of any sort to look at when you're in Mina. It's just a tip. Right, are we ready for the 5 days of Hajj? Let's go for it. Bismillah. 5 days of Hajj. Day 1, 8th Dhul Hijjah. What are you doing on 8th of Dhul Hijjah? What does it say? Makkah to Mina. That's what you're doing. Yeah, and you're staying in Mina. We're going to go through a bit of detail, but actually, let's go through detail now. I should go through later. Okay, you'll be leaving Mina on that 8th day after sunrise. So you'll be leaving Makkah for Mina on the 8th day after sunrise. You got me? Okay. If you leave earlier than that, because normally the tour operators, they have millions of people to transport, so they start much earlier than that. They start from the night. Remember, does the day come first in Islamic time, 24 hours, or does the night come first? The night does. So if they tell you to start moving to Mina in the night of 8th Dhul Hijjah, which is before the day, we're talking about day over here, it's not haram, it's not impermissible, it's permissible. However, the masnoon time, which Rasulullah SAW did and went, was after sunrise. So don't force the issue, follow everyone, but if you can do it in this time, it's brilliant, meaning after sunrise, head to Mina. Stay as close as possible to your tent when you arrive in Mina, and avoid wandering around, because there are hundreds of thousands of tents and you can get lost. Easy. Right. On the 8th day, you left after sunrise, let's say ideally. You got to Mina, you did your Dhuhr there, you did your Asr there, you did your Maghrib there, and you did your Isha there. And you will do the Fajr of the 9th of Dhul Hijjah there as well. Now this all is written over there. I told you I'm going to give you less notes, so you need to write this down. Yeah. So how many salahs will you do if you go after sunrise? 5. 4 remaining ones of the 8th of Dhul Hijjah and the first one of the 9th of Dhul Hijjah. With me? Okay. Now, one thing that I like to mention from the Fajr of 9th of Dhul Hijjah is that when you're here in England, in Birmingham, when you're here and the 9th of Dhul Hijjah comes, what do you start doing after Fard Salah? Takbirat of Ayyamut Tashriq. After Fard Salah, the Imam and you both recite Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Wallahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Walillahil hamd. Recite it once. Once is sunnah. You will do the same thing, even though you are in Hajj and you are a Haji or a Hajiyah, you're going to do the same thing. What are you going to do? After every Fard Salah, from 9th of Dhul Hijjah until and including the Asr of the 13th of Dhul Hijjah. you're going to say this takbirat of tashriq after Fard Salah. With me? And remember, look, because you come into ihram again for Hajj, I need to stress again that talbiyah should have started your normal dhikr of labbaik Allahumma labbaik labbaik la sharika laka labbaik innal hamda wan ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak. This should have already started and should be doing that abundantly anyway. In your second day of Dhul Hijjah, this is the prime moment of Hajj. This is what Hajj is all about. If you don't spend a moment in Arafah, your Hajj is not acceptable. Your whole Hajj, your 5 days, everything else you did, if you didn't spend a moment in Arafah. So, Al-Hajju Arafah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Hajj is Arafah. That's what it is. It's such a magnificent day. I really wanted to share virtues of Hajj, etc. before this. I knew the time was going to be very limited. I haven't. But it's available in the books and it's available in literature as well. You can read about the virtues and about the virtue of the day of Arafah as well. Now, let's see how much you know. Let's see how much you've been listening. On the 8th of Dhul Hijjah, what time was it sunnah to leave Makkah for Mina? Say louder. After sunrise. On the 9th of Dhul Hijjah, similarly, after sunrise, it is sunnah to leave Mina for Arafah. So that's easy now. 2 days we're doing the same thing, leaving wise, when we're leaving. Yeah, now this is ideal times. If the tour operators, they move it a bit back and forth, then there's no need to argue. Now, it's recommended to arrive in Arafah after Zawal, which means at the beginning time of Dhuhr, yeah, into that time. However, if your tour operators put you there before then it's not haram or unacceptable. So don't worry about that. Now, how long should a person stay in Arafah for? A person should stay in Arafah from Zawal, because that's wuquf. Wuquf is a common word you'll hear in the books. Wuquf of Arafah, wuquf of Muzdalifah. Wuquf. Wuquf means how long should you stay there for. So wuquf of Arafah is from Zawal until sunset. Time of Dhuhr until time of Maghrib. Yeah, so in Arafah you'll pray Dhuhr, you'll pray Asr, you'll stay till Maghrib, but you won't pray Maghrib. Why, we're going to say, tell you inshallah. But before we say that, just want to make it clear that there are certain conditions to combine Dhuhr and Asr of that 9th day of Arafah. Combining, meaning performing Asr Salah in Dhuhr time. There are certain conditions. But if you're performing in a tent, which you are 99.99% going to be doing, and you will not wander to find Masjid Nimrah, you will not be doing that. Trust me, you will appreciate it after. And you will not lose where you are, and you will not panic, and you will not get lost, and you will... Look, people don't even know your language when you're there. You're there and you're asking, where is my tent? And or some French language. And then again, you don't even know your tent number. You don't even know what that area is called. Is it European tents? Is it what tents? You don't even know the tent number. You don't even have the details you need to know. And you set off to Masjid Nimrah. I'm going to do my... So don't do that. Don't do that. So because the conditions are not found, you're going to perform Dhuhr in Dhuhr time and Asr in Asr time. Okay. How do you do the wuquf of Arafah? How do you do the wuquf? This is the best day. This is the prime day. This is where shaitan is humiliated. This is where Allah's forgiving you so much. So how do you do the wuquf of Arafah? You do it standing, and you raise your hands up to your shoulders as if you're making dua. Do you have to make dua? No. But this is wuquf. This is how you do wuquf. This is how you stop at Arafah. If your hands get tired, drop them. Legs get tired, sit. Ideally, you should do it under the sun, outside, not in your tent. This is the ideal way of doing it. Don't have the strength, as I said, drop your hands. Don't have the strength, sit down. Don't have the ability, then do it in the shade of your tent. Or do it outside your tent, but in the heat, but under the shade of your tent. Outside, we're saying, not inside. Do it as perfect as you can, but remember, you still got days to go through and there's lots of hard work still to do. So don't overly work yourself, and take rest intermittently, and then try and do it in a perfect way again. And then take rest intermittently, do it perfect way again. Now after Maghrib, we're going to be leaving for Muzdalifah. We're not performing Maghrib in Arafah. Now without performing Maghrib in Arafah, we are heading for Muzdalifah. Muzdalifah is a plain land as well, but there's no tents there. In Mina there were tents. In Arafah there will be tents. In Muzdalifah there is no tents. And what do you do in Muzdalifah? You're going to be spending a night there. One night. That's it. Let's see if we can get to that slide. There we go. That point. Okay. We're still in day 2, remember. I mean, like the 24-hour day 2. So in the morning of 9th of Dhul Hijjah, we went from Mina to Arafah. We stayed in Arafah, we did our Dhuhr, Asr, and we stayed till Maghrib. Now, as soon as Maghrib time happens, after that we're heading out to Muzdalifah. Coaches are available as well, walking is available, etc. Don't get off the coach until you're not actually in Muzdalifah. You can see the signs, Muzdalifah, big boards there. So don't just jump off the coach if there is a chance for you to jump off out of excitement. So stay in the coach. When you get to Muzdalifah, they're going to take you. Now look, in Mina, there is some facility of toilets and wudu areas. In Arafah, there's even less facility of toilets and wudu area. And in Mina, you just forget about it. You are limited. Muzdalifah. You are very limited in terms of toilets and wudu area. Very limited. So please eat light. Yeah, I know you're hungry, but just eat light. I know you want to drink lots of water, but just drink less. Yeah, I'm not saying become dehydrated, but just keep it sip, bite. That's all. Don't go for heavy meals, even if your tour operator offers you like heavy biryani meals and dal chawal and all that. So just keep it light. Yeah, you break your wudu, pass wind, you're in problems. Even your water bottles won't be enough. So I'll make wudu my water bottle. Where are you going to refill that water bottle from then once that water's finished? So keep it all light. Subhanallah. And when we were in Muzdalifah, they made us climb right to the top of the mountain. It was hard. The climb was hard. But when we got there, the whole top of the mountain was empty. And there was a specially made wudu and toilet facility on the top of that mountain. And if that wasn't enough, then, we were thirsty, and we saw vans pull up on the roadside, and these were organized by the Saudi ministry, and they started to bring out cases of cold drink. Cold in that heat. Okay, it was nighttime, but still very hot. And we appreciated that so much. Subhanallah. One thing I'll say, that if women need to sleep in Muzdalifah, then the umbrellas that they have with them and the bags, etc., they should use them for covering, blocking the vision from men. They should use that as covering. Otherwise, everyone is exposed under the roof of the sky. Now, when you reach Muzdalifah, wherever they tell you to camp, you lay everything out. You're going to perform Maghrib and Isha over here. So note down the method, please, of performing Maghrib and Isha. Adhan will be given out. One adhan. One iqamah will happen. Then you will perform the fard of Maghrib. Straight after you will perform the fard of Isha. Straight after you will read your sunnah for Maghrib. Straight after you will read your sunnah and witr for Isha. That's how it's done. Shall I repeat that again? One adhan, one iqamah. Fard of Maghrib, fard of Isha. Sunnah of Maghrib and sunnah and witr of Isha. That's how it's done. Once that's done, what other ibadah shall I do? Any and every one you want. You're tired, rest. You're tired, rest. Over here, before you leave, my dear respected brothers and sisters, before you leave, you'll see everybody collecting their stones for pelting from here. And this is a prime place to collect it from as well. Very good place because they bring trucks of those stones and they just pile them up. So you won't probably see piles, but you'll see like spread everywhere. Just avoid picking stones from the close to the toilet areas. Toilet and wudu areas, just avoid picking stones from there. Pick stones from the dry areas. Also, you cannot pick stones from the jamarat. You know, where you're actually going to pelt. People sometimes throw stones and it hits the big pillar and it bounces back. You can't pick those stones, they're used. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you're not just going to go pelt once and then walk away and never see that pillar again. You're going to be pelting for 3 days, so you're going to be coming back to those places again for pelting. So any stones you find that you can't pick from there. So where's the stone picking from then? It's from Muzdalifah. How many do you need to pick? Question. Let's see if you got any good at maths. On the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, you'll be pelting only one big pillar, and that's Al Jamaratul Kubra, the big pillar. Well, it's all the same sizes, by the way, but just call it the big shaitan and the big pillar. But they're all the same sizes. And this is just for differentiation. So you're going to be pelting Al Jamaratul Uqba, and that's all you're going to be pelting on that day. And that is the day of Eid, the 10th of Dhul Hijjah. That's the day of Eid. That's your big day. Yeah, we'll be talking about more in detail. We're just talking about these pebbles right now. So for that day, you only need 7 pebbles. 7 pebbles. How big should a pebble be? Size of a pea and maximum the size of a seed. Please don't pick up rocks. Don't want you to be breaking people's heads over there. Yeah. Seed so minimum a pea size and a maximum a seed size. So you need 7 pebbles for, should I just say stones is better, pebbles is large. 7 stones you need for the 10th of Dhul Hijjah. And then on the 11th, 12th, you're going to need for all 3. So 7 times 3, 21, and then 21 again. If you're staying on for the 13th, you need another 21. So they say just be safe. So 7 add 21 times 3 is 70. 70 pebbles you need. Take some counting to do. Yeah, and if you just take a rough handful and put it inside your small little pouch, you may be short. Yeah, so just count. You know, this counting is ibadah as well. This counting is ibadah as well. Right, you're going to stay in Muzdalifah until Fajr time, which is Subh Sadiq, until Fajr time. You have to do wukuf in Muzdalifah until Fajr time. You can't leave before then. Now, once Fajr time is done, you have to stop between Subh Sadiq and sunrise for a moment, at least in the boundary of Muzdalifah. What your tour operators sometimes they do is that as soon as you read Fajr, they say, let's go. Or sometimes they take you right to the border and they just take you like right out. So our tour operators, I remember what they did is that they said, read your Fajr as soon as start time happens. Now we're going to start walking up to the boundaries of this Muzdalifah, and we're going to be coming out of it. What we're saying over here is that to stop for a short time between Subh Sadiq and sunrise in Muzdalifah is wajib. And if you don't do that, there'll be a penalty. But normally they're not going to kick you out before Subh Sadiq. I mean, they're not going to kick you out before Fajr time. Normally you will always read your Fajr in Muzdalifah. But just make sure they don't push you beyond the boundary, because it all looks like Muzdalifah. Everything looks like that. And you have the boards there. They don't make you read it beyond the boundaries, the Fajr, and then carry on. You have to do the wukuf in Muzdalifah. There is no Eid Salah for a Haji. There is no Eid Salah for a Haji. Eid Salah is only for those that are outside. So when you head out now, in order, when you head out from Muzdalifah, you're going to go to the Jamarat first. Yeah, the big pillars. And look, everybody's doing the same thing. So you do not need arrows, and you do not need people with viz jackets over there. There's millions of people doing the same thing over there. Just follow the crowd. Yeah. When you get to the Jamarat, then depending on the busyness of the floors. So imagine the pillar. It's like 3-4 floors high, like a massive boulder. It's 3-4 floors high. So depending on the business of the floor, the police will direct you to a floor. Just go ahead with that floor. Just go there. Your exit point will be one-way system. So when you go in, you go out the other way. You're not going to be coming back on yourself. Yeah. So just follow the crowd again. You're going to be pelting the Jamratul Uqba only on that day, 7 peltings. How should you do the pelting? So you roughly stand about 5 to 6 foot away, which is probably 2 musallas away from there. That's if you can get as close as possible. If not, then 3 foot, 4 foot. The further you're away, the more chance there is that something's going to go wrong with your pelting. The closer you are, the easier it is. You're going to get 1 stone at a time. If you throw 2 or more stones, it only counts as 1 pelting. 1 stone, you're going to get it between your thumb and your index finger, and you're going to raise your hand and you're going to throw. That stone has to land in the barrier that blocks people away from the pillar. If it bounces off and it lands outside, it's not accepted. So do not hit him hard. It's not really him anyways. It's not shaitan. It's the pillar of the shaitan. No. People throw slippers at him as well. No, that's not shaitan. That's just a symbolic way of our commitment to Allah as well and to His commands. Just the way Ibrahim alayhi salam committed to Allah, and he actually threw at shaitan, who was able to visualize him, because he was stopping him from seeing Ismail going and slaughtering Ismail alayhi salam. So this is just a symbolic action. It's not the actual action. So the brothers walked out. That means it's 4:30. Yeah, 18. No, so half an hour leeway time. Inshallah, we will finish half an hour leeway time. I did tell them to put afternoon on the poster. I think they're just limited by the time. Okay, but we're getting there, inshallah. We're getting there. It's not so much left. So pelting first. Then comes in order animal sacrifice. Now you're not going to sacrifice the animal yourself. They're going to arrange that all. However, the order is wajib. The order is necessary. If you don't maintain the order, you'll have to pay a penalty. So your sacrifice should only happen after your pelting. However, it needs to happen before you shave your hair. Yeah, so you need to find out from your group leader what time is the sacrifice happening, and you need to make sure you've pelted that before then. So you pelt, and then you get a message on your phone. What? Animal sacrifice. Alhamdulillah. Okay, we're getting there. And whilst this is happening, you're walking to Makkah. You're walking to Makkah. Look, if you take the bus, it's going to be slower. That's the reality of it. Buses are not faster. Buses are slower. If you walk at a steady pace, medium pace, you're going to get to Makkah before the bus. You can even take breaks in between as well. And alhamdulillah, they've got sprinklers of water right on your pathways as well. So they made it so easy. So you're going to carry on. You're going to go through the tunnels. And you're going to come out leading to Makkah. You're going to go there. And you're going to get to the Haram. Now you're going to perform your tawaf. How many rounds? 7. You're going to start from Hajj al-Aswad. Yeah, green light's going to show you Hajj al-Aswad. You're going to do istiqbal. Yeah, 2 hands, Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. No kissing the hands, and you're going to start showing your left to the Kaaba and going round. After you've come to the Hajj al-Aswad again, now you're going to do istilam. Istilam, face your hands both facing the Hajj al-Aswad. Say Bismillah, Wallahu Akbar, and kiss your hands. And then you're going to carry on going round. So you're going to do 7 rounds like that. So how many times would you have shown your hands to the Kaaba? 8. Yeah. After you perform your 2 rak'ats of behind the Maqam Ibrahim, after you've done your 7 rounds of circuit, then it's masnoon to go back and do the istilam. However, it's not necessary. We already said this. Then you're going to go for your sa'i. Yeah, you're going to do your sa'i. Now look, this sa'i, just as a ruling I'm telling you, this sa'i could have been done before you set off for your Hajj days. It could have been done even before you came into the state of ihram for Hajj. It could have been done before that. How could it have been done? It could have been done by you performing a nafal tawaf, which is 7 circuits, as we mentioned, and then do a sa'i, but with the intention that that sa'i accounts for this one we're doing now. So what would happen then is, when you'd come from Mina, from Muzdalifah, and you'll go to the Jamarat Pelt, then you'll come to Makkah walking, and that's 8 kilometers or something of walking in total, or something like that. Lots of miles of walking, in slippers, in the heat of the sun, no food, no drink, and Then you come to the Haram, then you go around 7 times in the busyness, so that means the rounds are very wide. After that, you could have performed 2 rakat of salah and gone and shaved your head, and you wouldn't have had to do the sa'i. You could have made it easy like this. However, it's more preferable that you keep it with the ending over here right now, and you do your sa'i right now at this point. Yes.
So you know the tawaf after
Yes.
that you should do the sa'i and then shave. What of the Hajj you're going to have you're going to have hair and you're going to shave after the sacrifices. So you shave twice.
No, this is the shaving.
Oh, this is
Yeah, but we haven't got to that. Well, I'm just getting to that. So after we've done the tawaf, then we're going to do the sa'i. Now, after sa'i, if you haven't got a confirmation on your phone that your animal sacrifice has been done, then you've got to go get confirmation, because you can't shave your head, because the order has to be this. So once you got confirmation, now you're going to shave your head. Yeah, and just for the technical term, the tawaf you just did right now is called tawafu ziyarah. Which tawaf is it called? Yeah, you'll hear about this a lot. You'll see in the books. So that's the Eid day tawaf normally. Yeah, normally people do it there at that time. Now, let's say you got your confirmation message that your animal sacrifice has been done. That dam, again, technical term, is called dam shukr. What dam? Shukr. The dam of gratitude. It's animal sacrifice of gratitude. Now you shaved your head or trimmed it. Again, we've been through that in Umrah already, how that's done. Just for the sisters, I forgot to mention is that if you want, you can carry around scissors with you, so you can come out of your ihram even before you get to the hotel at that time when you're doing your Umrah, for example, at that time, and even at this time as well. Sometimes there's sisters over there who work there and they actually walk around with scissors and they charge you and they cut your hair for you. So it's a service they provide for you. Otherwise, you can get your own scissors, get another sister or your husband or your brother, etc., to just roll up that finger and cut your hair that 1 inch, as per guidelines were explained. Now, all this, my dear respected brothers and sisters, I've got a code word for you for these 3 important things in order. It's called pass. What's it called? Pass. Pelting, P. Animal sacrifice, AS. And final S, shaving the head. Pass. Pelting, animal sacrifice, shaving the head. This is the order you have to do it in as well. Remember, this is the order you have to do it. Right, are we ready to head back to Mina now? Big day, we've had a big day, you're all tired? Yes.
You know the tawaf is right?
Yes.
You have to be before the sacrifice. Like, what's the
it can be anywhere in between. It can even be later as well. But yeah, Tawafu Ziyarah is not the order of it. It's not the order as far as I remember.
Get your conversion later while you are doing the say something. So you make that confirmation there when you are not.
Right. So whether you're in Aziziyah or you're going to a hotel, after you've done that on the 10th day, however long that's taken you in Makkah, you may decide, you know what, I'm going to go eat and then I'm going to stay in Makkah for longer. Yeah, so there's no hard and fast rule in that day. You can stay a bit longer there as well, but then you will be told by a tour operator that if you want to go back to your hotel, there's a bus leaving or there's transport leaving, we have arranged it, or you got to walk back, whatever, and this is when the group's walking back and meeting up. Food will be served back in Azizia or the hotel at this time. They'll give you all those guidelines, so you can stay for longer in Mecca, and then after that you have to head back to Mina. We're still on the day of Eid. We're still on the day of Eid. After that, my dear respected brothers, the remaining of the 10th, the day of the 11th, and the day of the 12th, and if you're going to make a 13th day out of it as well, and going to stay in Mina for that long, all your stay is all about Mina. That's it. And in the 10th day ibadah, which you had to do compulsory and necessary, that's been done. 11th and 12th, there's only one necessary amal you got to do, and that is between sunrise and zawal. Between sunrise and zawal, you should go for pelting all three of the pillars, from Jamaratul Uqba to Wusta and Ukhra, the right through, all three of them. Again, the orders will come one after the other anyway, so you will not have a problem, one after the other. So, and everybody's going to be doing it one after the other. One thing I forgot to mention about the pelting is that after every pelting, so when you do a pelting and after it there's a pelting. Yeah, this only applies on the 11th and 12th of Dhul Hijjah, not on the 10th. So if you're pelting pillar number 1, after that you'll pelt pillar number 2. So where there is a pelting after a pelting, to make dua between the two is sunnah. Remember this. So after you pelt once, 7 stones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now you should turn towards the Qibla and make dua. Okay? If you don't know the Qibla, just make dua basically. So stand to a side, make dua. Then go to the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now again move to the side and make dua. Now when you go pelt the third one, are you going to make dua? Is it sunnah to make dua after that? No, because there's no pelting immediately after that. There's no fourth pillar, is there? So the dua will only happen after the pelting of the first 2 pillars. This you'll do on the 11th, and this you'll also do on the 12th. Look, it's just Mina, Mina, Mina. This is it. Mina, Mina, Mina. Sorry, there you go.
Between sunrise and
Zawal. Between Subah Sadiq, between Fajr and sunrise, it is makruh to pelt on these days. Which day? 11th, 12th and 13th. Between sunrise and zawal, it is masnoon to pelt. Between for day after, between zawal and sunset, if I recall correctly, it is mabah. Mabah means optional, like it's not right or wrong. You can do it. And then if you then delay it from sunset till subah sadiq of the next day, the previous day's pelting, that's makruh again. So really you want to aim for daylight hours. Simply, that's what you want to aim for on the 11th and 12th, and you want to do that before dhuhr. Yeah, so you may say after Fajr I'm going to sleep, then I'm going to wake up, pray my dhuhr, then I'm going to go pelt. You can do that's, some people say that, but I sunnah to pelt before dhuhr time. And once you pelt, you're going to do a U-turn and go back to your tents in Mina on the 11th and 12th. That's not there. It's sunnah to spend your nights in Mina. So that's what you're going to be doing. Right. This is just a breakdown. I'm not going to speak it, but I'm just going to show it. There we go. Okay, so that's the breakdown of the 8th of Dhul Hijjah. We've spoken about all of this. Have a look at it. Okay. Going to move on. That's your Mina tents. You can't even imagine the width of that. It's probably, and how where the photo's taken from. There's probably many miles behind that way as well. That way, and then there's miles this way. The length and breadth of it is unimaginable. You can just keep driving in a car and say, "When's it gonna end? When's it gonna end? When's it gonna end?" That's how it is. 9th breakdown. I'm just going to give it to you over here. There we go. Day 2, there's a bit more of the 9th, but that's day 2. That's your Arafah day. We've discussed all this.
how long are the walk from Mina to Muzdalifah to Arafah? Like Mina
To be honest, they do give you coaches. The only time they don't want to give you a coach is on the 10th day when you have to start your walk from Muzdalifah and then go to Jamarat to pelt the big Jamarat al-Uqba and then go to Makkah. That's the time they don't want to provide you because it's just too much. Yeah. This is the ninth night. There we go. We've already discussed all this. Just overviews for yourself. Yep. Then we're moving on to the 10th, and there we go. Oh, sorry, that's the one. Go back to Mina. So I just take that shot again. Right, okay. Then just a picture for you for the Jamrah. This is how it looks like, and there's the people. I'll blur them out. Can you see that many people? So when you throw a stone from like 5-10 meters back, you just feel sorry for the person who's standing at the front over there. Yeah, so try and just be careful in that. And that big, massive pillar and boulder that's going upwards, that's Jamrah. And then it has to fall within that boundary, what we're saying.
So they have to hit the wall first.
It has to hit the wall and then fall in. Yeah, so you can't be harsh in your throwing. Now, how will you see a stone when you're throwing it from 10 meters back and there's thousands of people throwing at the same time? Or hundreds, let's say. How will you see yours? See? You see, so you have to just be careful, basically.
As long as it's fallen in there.
As long as you saw that as well. Yeah. Oh, you're sure about that as well. So just be careful. There you go. That's 11th and 12th. These were the short days. Remember, we told you just one thing you got to do in each day. Look, keep yourselves busy in ibadah throughout the whole Hajj. It's so blessed. You know, the time you've held the first Jamrah, your talbiyah will stop. Then that's your dhikr done for talbiyah. Then it's just Quran, other du'as, etc., etc. So from the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, when you first pelt, your talbiyah for your ihram has stopped from that point. Here's your Hajj overview in terms of hukm and ruling. Fard is obligation, meaning if you miss it out, it doesn't count. Your Hajj doesn't count. Wajib means if you miss it out, big penalty. Green sunnah means this is the way of the Prophet ﷺ, and blue is basically just permitted. And for my sisters, we're coming to an end, inshallah. We're coming to an end. So we're getting there, inshallah. We're getting tips and advice for women. When I found out that there was this many sisters coming today, I thought I had to include this in the slides. This, inshallah, will help them. So I encourage the sisters to take snapshots of this. I'm just going to quickly read through these slides. Entering into ihram. A woman will not perform the 2 rak'ah sunnah before ihram if she's in a menses. She will merely recite the talbiyah and make niyyah to come into the state of ihram. She can recite the talbiyah and any dua in a menses. She cannot recite the Quran, perform salah, or enter the masjid, or perform tawaf in her menses. Umrah and menses. If a woman is experiencing her menses, she will not perform any salah or tawaf. A woman will not enter Masjid al-Haram until after her menses are complete and she has taken a bath. If a woman entered ihram and she was experiencing her menses, then she will not perform the umrah until she becomes free of her menses. She will have to remain in that state of ihram until she performs her umrah, and that she can't do until she finishes her menses. So these are struggles, but Allah will reward her immensely. Acts of worship not permissible whilst she's in that state. Reciting Quran, or even if a man is in the state of Hadath Akbar and he needs to perform the Fard Ghusl as well. Reciting Quran, performing Salah, making Tawaf to enter the Haram and to enter the Masjid. You can enter Safa and Marwa area, that's not included in the Haram. You can enter the Masjid compound as well. We're just saying you can't enter the Masjid. Acts which are permissible: do dhikr, do istighfar, do talbiyah, send salawat upon Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, du'as, reading Islamic books, looking at the Kaaba from Safa and Marwa, building a hotel room, a balcony, treating people with kindness, giving sadaqah, charity, all permissible things for you. Taking the pill. The only umrah ritual not permitted during menses is tawaf. Therefore, this may lengthen, and obviously for tawaf you've got to enter the masjid as well, you can't do that. Therefore, this may lengthen the time you spend in ihram. If you think you will leave Saudi Arabia without having performed your tawaf, then it is permissible to take the medication to delay the menses. However, this can be very, very mentally stressing. What our sisters have to take in mind is that the heat of Saudi Arabia will affect your internal self and your internal system. So if your system says that on the 11th of every month till the 20th maximum. These are my middle 10 days where my menstrual cycle happens. The heat of Saudi Arabia can change that. It can start much earlier, so you can start on the 6th and 7th, and then your 10 days start. So the taking the pill, thinking, oh, it's the 10th that you always starts, and if I take the pill, it'll all be okay. And sometimes your body doesn't adjust to that brand of the pill, and it just something starts appearing on the 1st of the month, then it goes away. Then it comes on the 6th, and you don't know, am I which? So this pill thing is very, very difficult. Allah make it easy. So if you have any like serious questions or stresses, then you should speak to alimas, abbas, alimas, or muftis. If your menses finish whilst you're still in Makkah, it is better not to take them. Practical tips: contact your doctor, seek medical advice. Pills often have side effects, so read upon that beforehand and ask advice from sisters who may have already used the pill during Umrah as to what they said. Right, there's penalties. I'm not going to be doing this section. Yeah, I'm just going to just pass through these slides, run through them, because this time is limited. We're just going to go through, but there is four. Sorry, okay, just take that snapshot. I know you want to do it. Let's take the snapshot. There is 4 types of penalties that you give. Each one's I explained, but we're not going to go through what makes them happen, what doesn't. It's just no time right now. You know, all these things you can come back and ask. You can learn again. We need to move on to Medina, the relaxed time. And inshallah, these last 10 minutes, which is about half an hour over in total, inshallah, we will finish Medina in that time, inshallah. And in this, we'll be, inshallah, discussing what is ziyarah, virtues of ziyarah, in Medina Munawwara, intention and how to present salam. And for that, I'm going to be using these green book over here, which you, inshallah, should be getting at the end of the session. So this is the most coolest place on earth in terms of peacefulness, satisfaction, the air of Medina. It's just a place where you can fall asleep and just wish you can stay asleep for the rest of eternity. That's how peaceful it is. If you go here first, which we were made to do in my Hajj package in 2017, it's the biggest regret of my life. I've been Umrah 3 times, once before, twice after. And this Hajj trip was number 2. I would never go to Medina first and go for Umrah after. That's my personal preference. You just miss Medina so much that it's just incredible, the pain that you have to live with, that you can't be there and live there and just experience that peace again. Just miss it so much. Look, if your Hajj package is like that, then nothing to basically argue about, etc. Trust in Allah again. This is your share. This is how Allah wanted it to be. So let it be like that, inshallah. So go Medina first. Spend good time there. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever visits my grave, my intercession becomes obligatory upon him. Subhanallah. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. And Haji Imdadullah Muhajir Makki rahmatullah, he would say, he said in an ulama discussion, people were discussing the fiqhi mas'ala, that can you intend Masjid al-Nabawi and the Prophet's grave, or can you not intend the Prophet's grave and you can just intend Masjid al-Nabawi, because there's a fiqhi mas'ala there. So Haji Imdadullah Muhajir Makki rahmatullah, he said that why has Masjid al-Nabawi got the fadila and the virtue of Masjid al-Nabawi? So all the scholars, they said, because of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he said, then how can it be that you can make an intention for the Masjid Nabawi, but you can't make intention for the Nabi? So all the scholars said, mashallah, mashallah, mashallah. This is a sufficient reason as to why we can validate and allow the ummah to make intention for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself as well when you head towards Medina. So this is an intention. I'm going to visit the Prophet ﷺ, his grave, and I'm going to also visit Masjid Nabawi. The Prophet ﷺ, according to our Aqidah, he's alive in his grave and he hears everything around him. Even our salat and salam outside, any time in the world, anywhere, they all present it to him. And when you're obviously there, then it's direct. Inside Masjid Nabawi, you know, the photos cannot do justice. It's so incredible. That's why I haven't taken many photos. This was the place where Rasulullah ﷺ performed his salawat. This is where he led. However, they've built the mimbar quite thick, so I think his exact prostration place is where the mimbar is actually sitting on, but his standing place is that inside that mihrab over there. I would have loved to give you a tour of Masjid Nabawi through pictures and explain to you that this is this pillar and this is why this pillar is here, because something happened here and here. But inshallah, you can read through the books, and if another time, inshallah, if you wish, we can have session 2 at some point as well. Now, in Masjid Nabawi, in Medina, you're going to engage in dhikr, you're going to engage in ibadah, you're going to do all the right things, avoid all haram, you're going to avoid all wastage of time as well. You're going to be very, our mothers and sisters as well, you can treat Masjid Nabawi with a lot of etiquette. You know, your times for ziyarah may be limited to 2 a day, and when they open the barriers, then women rush, scream, yell, and everything happens over there. Subhanallah. So don't be one from amongst them. You know, Allah has written in your share, you will get your place. Yeah, you may have to be a bit more patient, but don't barge people, hurt people. Turkish women are very violent, subhanAllah, you see at that time as well, you know, and very strong, mashallah, violent means they're very strong. So you feel the elbows and you feel the shoulders and you feel a lot. So don't injure yourself in the cause. Be patient, inshallah. And when you go for as-salat was-salam ala nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when you go for present your salam, then cover yourself well. And if the Prophet ﷺ was alive and he was standing there, then I don't know which woman would have it in her to look eye to eye with Rasulullah ﷺ. You know, out of the awe and the status. You know, today in the imams, we can't look them eye to eye because they're imams, and you know, we think, so how would we do it? So Rasulullah ﷺ is alive in his grave. So etiquette, keep the head down. And brothers and sisters alike, don't make an effort to peek through the cage and say, and try and see, oh, what's through that cage? Can I spot the covering of the grave, the hump of the grave? So there's a difference where even the humps are within the building of that. So don't try and do all that. Keep your head low. When you're heading for to give the salam, then continuously engage in durood, salat and salam upon Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I haven't put the cage pictures here intentionally because my heart just couldn't allow me to just put a picture there. I just find that so disrespectful. I just put a picture of the 3 barriers with the 3 things. Just my heart just doesn't say that. How can I just do that? Like that? But there will be 3 holes upon which there'll be 3 circles that will say Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The next circle will say Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radhiyallahu anhu. The next one will say Umar radhiyallahu anhu. As you walk past them, present your salam to each one. Yeah, so Assalamu alayka ya Rasulullah. Salam upon you, O the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then you go to Abu Bakr radhiyallahu anhu. Assalamu alayka ya Abu Bakr. Yeah, if you don't know how to say it in other way, just say in English. Just say in a way. The main thing is your intentions count the most. And then give salam to Umar radiyallahu anhu, and then respectfully, look, they don't allow you to stop there. They very rarely allow you to stop there. So if they're keeping you moving, you want to say so many people salam, that this person gave salam, this person gave salam, this person gave salam. So just say salam upon you, O Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, on behalf of me and everyone that has told me to present salam to you. But there's a second thing that we should say as well. And I request you to intercede on behalf of me and everyone that has requested me to present salam before you on the day of judgment. Intercede on our behalf on the day of judgment. So salam pesh, giving salam is not just saying salam. Giving salam is also requesting intercession of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the Day of Judgment. And this you'll find mentioned in the books that will be given to you as well. And we're 2 minutes before 4 o'clock. I did estimate about half an hour over as well. And that brings me to the conclusion of the Hajj workshop, which is a full 3 hours of our discussion time. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept every one of you, subhanAllah. And those that are going, Allah accept you tremendously and give you all the guidance that you need and the inspiration to do the right things. If anything good that has been said today, it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if anything wrong I've said, it's from my shaitan nafs and my lack of knowledge. But I've tried to say everything to you as best of my ability and knowledge. The books that will be given to you, they have everything proofread, etc. So anything that you find in there is all verified and it's all referenced there as well. So that is definitely what you want to follow over there. So there's a book on how to perform Hajj, which is in red. There's a book on how to perform Umrah, which is in purple. And there's a book on how to perform Ziyarah, which is in green. So if you're going for Hajj, then please do take all three of them and benefit from them. Now, I didn't get to do a question session after end of each session. If sisters require any more books, then if they can kindly please give them. Sorry, I've got some questions from the sisters still too. Jazak, oh, sorry, more questions. Jazakallah. Mashallah, Jazakallah khairan. Okay, so whilst I read the questions, if the brothers can just come forward and just collect one each, inshallah, of these books. I'm just going to read the questions. If you still remain silent, I'll still read the questions, inshallah, and then answer. So question 1 I've already answered, that where should you keep your belongings if you can't keep them in front of you whilst you're performing salah in the Haramain? Then we're saying that keep them as close as possible to your feet so that they're not knocked about when people are walking in front of you, if they do. Okay, subhanallah. I'm really sorry. I wish I knew this first. Some ladies who attended aren't understanding English. Any advice for them? So these books that I'm giving out, they are also in Urdu as well. They are also in Urdu. So if my sisters who've attended today and brothers, they want it in Urdu, then the admin, the Masjid Esa admin number that you've got, please message on that number that you'd like a copy of how to perform Hajj, Umrah and Ziyarah in Urdu. Ladies can wear any kind of shoes in Ihram. Ladies can wear any kind of shoes in Ihram. The bathrooms within the Haram, then they're not in the masjid area. They're on the tiled area which is outside the building of the masjid. They're outside of the building and they go underground. If sisters are in the menses or in postnatal bleeding, then you're allowed to enter the tile area outside the masajid, meaning Masjid al-Haram in Makkah and Masjid Nabawi sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Medina. You're allowed to enter the tiled area. You can't just enter the brick masjid area. That's the area you can't enter. There's sometimes I've seen, my wife's also told me that she's seen a lot of sisters that during Salah, they're on the outside tile area, that's where they do the dhikr, etc. They don't want to stay in the hotels and do it. They want to be out. So when Salah time comes, they just stay seated during Salah time. They don't perform the Salah, they carry on with the dhikr, etc. And they sit quietly and patiently. So that's something, a way of doing it as well. So in the days of Hajj, if you have the ihram of Hajj, then you only do one qurbani, one animal sacrifice, which is dam shukr. If in the days of Hajj, you are not in the ihram of Hajj, that's when you will do the other. You don't do two together. So So if you're traveling to Medina first, then you're a traveler until you get to Medina. If your stay in Medina is 14 days or under, then you're still a traveler in Medina. Once you get to Mecca, if your stay is 15 days or more, now you're not a traveler in Mecca. So, but you will still remain a traveler in Medina. Sunscreen, fragrance-free in Ihram, it's allowed. Creams are allowed, fragrance-free. Vaseline, fragrance-free, all allowed. Men should definitely take Vaseline.
How about the sun cream?
Sun cream is allowed here, but normally, speaking from experience, it gets so sticky on the face that you've got to start wiping that off now your face as well. And now you're in ihram and you're like, oh, how much can I wipe? If I use a tissue too much on my face, is that gonna, what's it gonna do? Because it just starts dripping, it starts melting off your face. That's how hot it is, and that's how much you're sweating and perspirating. It's best to do sa'i on ground floor only. Upper floors is permissible, but sa'i can be done on the ground floor. It's best to do it there. But again, if there's too much public there, then the inspectors will send you upstairs. You can do wudu with Zamzam, but you just have to use it wisely, because people waste Zamzam a lot when they do wudu with it. Just pour. Can you take a bath with Zamzam? Again, you can. But again, use it wisely. Don't just take drums and just pour it down the gutter of the hotel. So use wisely. If there's distributed free items on the floor forsaken by the I don't know what it says. What does this say? What does that say? Receivers.
Yeah.
If there's distributed items that haven't been taken by the receiver, so they're forsaken. So, for example, a lot of times in Mina, Muzdalifah, etc., or Muzdalifah, not Mina. Mina, you're going to keep coming back over there, but Muzdalifah, you're leaving and you're going. So people sometimes leave their floor mats and their sleeping bags. Just leave it, they don't want it. So can you take it? So if they've forsaken it, then you can take it. But if they've left it and they're going to come back to it, or you're not sure, then you should leave it. And if there's someone already there, then you should ask them. Ladies can make their hair during ihram. They can make it, and they should especially make their hair if they feel that if they don't make it, it'll appear beyond their hijab. So if they don't tie it properly, it'll appear beyond their hijab. Otherwise, disheveled hair, this is praiseworthy in ihram. So we're not saying make the hair mean like comb it every day, or let's take all the knots out and no. So we're saying that if it's genuinely become disheveled and it's an inconvenience to you, then you can make it. Sometimes it becomes too tight on the head, you need to release it and redo it, then you can do that. And if you pull out hairs, then you should give sadaqah for that. You should give sadaqah for that. Sadaqah for pulling out hairs is sadaqah, not animal sacrifice. The penalty is lower. Okay, can we eat the chicken and the meat in Saudi? Okay. Yeah, so shall I give you my opinion and my research? Yeah. So don't get offended. This is my research. So the import of the meat in Saudi Arabia, chicken. The import of chickens in Saudi Arabia comes from Brazil and alike places. And the strategy that they follow for slaughter is not the method that we consider permissible when it's slaughtered via that method, which is mechanical slaughter and electrocuting. So we don't consider that lawful. That meat, we don't consider that lawful. When I say don't consider lawful, meaning we don't know if the electrocuting or the mechanical slaughter has been done correctly. Yeah, so has the animal died before, after electrocution? Because the animal has to be alive whilst it's being cut. Did they just put a tape recorder on that said Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Bismillah, Allah Akbar, Bismillah? whilst they were being slaughtered, because we need someone live. Then the Muslim has to slaughter, non-Muslim can't slaughter. So there's so many conditions of this. So were they fulfilled or they? I have no idea. And there's nothing there that in all these years that they've given us to say that yes, we do it like you're saying it. If anything, they hide information. Yeah. So chicken in hotels, avoid. Red meat in hotels you can eat, because the red meat, meaning sheep, goat, buffalo, this is all slaughtered locally. The hotels get it locally. If the shops under the hotels at the bottom floor, they say that we are watani chicken. We have watani or baladi. Watani baladi chicken means that our chicken is being slaughtered locally. You can have that chicken. Yeah. In Medina, there's a our Asian restaurant. It's called Zaytun, and it's in Tayyiba Mall. Eat as much as you want from there. Chicken, meat, everything you want from there. They're reliable brothers. In Makkah, I think they've taken it out now. But there was a Tazaj. There was Tazaj in Makkah. I think they moved the branch out, but I'm not sure. But if it's still there, you can eat from there as well. There's also locals who live in and around Makkah and Medina, around the Haram, who supply homemade food. When I went for Hajj, I ordered homemade food a lot of times. Nice hot with your chaat and chutney and paratha and papar and everything, biryani, everything, complete everything full, and they do full like local slaughtered everything. So if you want those contacts, see me personally, please. Study about the landmarks as well, brother. Study about the landmarks as well. Let me just read the next questions. Okay, if you want the presentation, then you can, inshallah, leave your emails behind. We'll give you the presentation as well, inshallah. What does this say?
Inconvenience.
Inconvenience.
What incontinence? I don't know.
Continence, isn't it?
I don't know what.
For the, is that urine?
Unique? No. Urine. For the urine inquiry. Yeah, probably like talking like with the urine problems.
So look, if you've got urine problems or gas problems, passing wind problems, you can't keep your wudu for durations of time, please speak to a scholar. Yeah, this is individual. There's no single fatwa for this. Yeah, please speak to a scholar. And or Appa Alima if you're sister. Look, and in terms of Urdu, I told that if anybody wants things in Urdu, then please tell me. All these books are in Urdu, and even there's an audio in Urdu that takes you through all three books. Not literally, but it takes you through all three books. That's in Urdu though.
Do you have any more?
The first sight of the Kaaba, du'as are accepted. First sight of Kaaba, du'as are accepted. Some ulama, they say this is not limited to first sight. Every sight of the Kaaba, du'as are accepted. They expansively mention that, so we can do that. Right, that's the sister's questions finished. Okay. No, because they don't claim their chickens to be watani. Al-Bayt, they don't claim their chickens to be watani. If they claim watani baladi, if you go there and they tell you that and you trust them, that's fine. There's going to be so many pizza shops, etc. Just because it doesn't say watani baladi doesn't mean they're not watani baladi. You have to go ask them. You go ask them, and if they say yes and you believe them, that's fine. That's fine. And just bear in mind, they get very much offended when you ask them that.
Is that their version of agency?
No, watani baladi just means it's slaughtered locally, and if it's slaughtered locally, it's slaughtered the way we're saying. It's not electrocuted, nor is it slaughtered by a tape recorder, nor does a non-Muslim slaughter it. Yeah, it just fulfills all the conditions that we want. So they just need to say that this is slaughtered in Saudi Arabia. That's what you say, locally in Saudi. They get offended a lot though because according to some madhahib, according to them, it's just Bismillah and everything is halal. So they feel that you're accusing them of selling haram. So this is a very, very big accusation. But you're not accusing, you're just inquiring. And inquiring for your own protection. because you're following what you're following. It doesn't allow you to do that, so it's your own. But they get offended as well. So you have to be mindful.
Sorry.